Welcome back, everyone. This is High Stakes Feud. Daniel Negreanu versus Doug Polk, Session 7. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Jeff Platt. I am joined today by one of the GG squad members. It's Egption. Patrick Tardif is here. Patrick, thanks for jumping on today. You ready to go, my man?
I'm eager. I'm ready. This is, I get to take part in history of the biggest part of the biggest poker content going on in 2020, Doug versus Daniel.
There we go. Are the stakes high enough for you? 200, 400? Is that good enough?
You know, I got out of bed, but I got out of bed kind of late. So it's like, it's just enough.
Okay.
Just enough.
Oh, it is perfectly fine. And boom, just like that, we are already underway. What you are watching, two tables of 200, 400. Heads up, no limit Texas Hold'em on WSOP.com. The plan overall in this feud is to play 25,000 hands. And today we will cross the 10% mark in that plan. Today we expect a 2-hour session. The two players did have their first extended session on Monday, only expecting them to go 2 hours, but you never know. And we, right off the bat, we see an overbet from Doug Polk on table 1. We'll call the table on the left table 1, the table on the right table 2. Egption, that's good enough for you, right? I like to keep it really simple because I don't know if our brains can handle that much.
I think too is that when you start giving them nicknames and stuff like that, it just like it might not recognize immediately. Like if we start calling table 1 Flamingo, just like we start talking about, maybe our brains will drift apart and just realize we'll miss the complete river action or something. So yeah, table 1, table 2 sounds like a clean way to do it from here.
Okay, sounds good to me. Patrick, while we get going here, what are your overall thoughts on the high stakes feud so far? What have you witnessed over these last 2 weeks or so?
I'm glad it's a competitive match. It's not Vinny Vidi, Phil Galfond, the beginning of the challenge where like it's just an immediate straight line down, and we see some notepad Twitter tweets of just being soul crushed and trying to figure things out. It's been a back and forth affair. Daniel got the leg up on him in the live spot, a part of it, and then Daniel quickly responded with a couple strong online sessions, and now it's just been back and forth.
Before they sat down today, you see it on the bottom of your screen, a slight lead for Doug Polk, almost 2,400 hands in, and Polk has the lead of about $67,000. Two fairly sizable pots, almost 13K in the middle on table number 2, ace of spades on the river. There's 8K in the pot as Negreanu 3-bet pre on table 1, leading for what seems to be standard sizing for him. It's 4s and deuces for Polk on table 2 for a nice little pickup. So we shift our focus to table 1, ace, queen, 8, 2 clubs.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. Doug Polk making it about 6,000.
So a 3-bet pot and Doug raising in position and taking it down. That's something I'm not too familiar with. So it's exciting to see a little bit more interesting play.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we've seen that too often throughout this last week and a half when Negreanu 3-bets. Polk calls, Negreanu leads. I don't think we've seen too many raises in that kind of spot.
Yeah, it's also a spot too where you'd figure if Daniel's going to be 3-betting with his bluffs and value should do pretty reasonably on it. So raising there makes it a little bit more interesting. I'm sure that's a spot that maybe Daniel hasn't played as many heads up hands overall as Doug has this database of just millions of hands that he's perhaps played.
For those of you who are new to this overall feud, we are playing 200, 400, no limit Texas Hold'em heads up. The buy-in, $40,000. Now you'll see if a player gets down to less than 40K, they'll automatically top off to get back to 40K before the next hand begins. So you see Doug Polk is up a little bit to start today's session. And Patrick, overall, Polk's up 67K, but when they're playing 200, 400 for 25,000 hands, that's really nothing, right?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the point. It's like to us modest people, 67,000. A lot of people in chat will be something like, "Oh, that's my yearly wage. Oh, that's what I make in 3 years." Right. And then it's, that's maybe a pot. That's maybe one 4-bet pot that went incorrectly in someone's way. It's when you're playing at stakes like this, the money adds up pretty quick, and when at the end of the day, when it's only less than 2 buy-ins separating the two players, it's anyone's ballgame. We
welcome you all in the chat to GGPoker's YouTube channel. It's GGPoker GGPoker.tv. Hello, hello, hello to everyone in the chat. I see DJ out there, Mitchell, Felipe, Matthew, Brenda, Fizz, Mike. Thank you all so much for joining us. We very much appreciate it. Be sure to like this page. Be sure to subscribe to this page. Big plans for the YouTube subscribers in GG's future. Be sure to comment. Be sure to share. It is all the good stuff on GGPoker.tv. High Stakes Feud, Session 7. Daniel Negreanu versus Doug Polk. Jeff Platt alongside Egption, Patrick Tardif. Happy to be here with you all today. About $3,300 in the pot in table number 1.
Yeah, it appears to just be a single raise pot and a C bet from Doug. Nothing too crazy. Just a check back on the turn. Pretty favorable turn, I would say, or river, I would say, for Doug.
Ace of Hearts on that river.
Yeah, despite it going check check, I don't expect to see Daniel have too many leads. It just goes check check and 7 deuce. I don't think they're playing a 7 deuce bonus game.
So no bonus goes to Polk, but he does win an okay size pot. Want to remind you that we have a couple free rolls in store for you all watching. One takes place in about 25 minutes. So that means I'll give you the password to that free roll. It's a ggpoker.tv free roll. I'll give you that password in about 15 minutes and you could win 3. You could win one of 3 $105 Battle of Malta event number 9 Bounty Poker Tour special seats.
We got a fun pot on table 2. Doug bet the turn about like 55-60%, and Daniel with the small like 20% pot lead.
Super small lead, the blockers lead of sorts, $800 on the river. Table number 1, sizable pot developing.
Yeah, I guess you're going to expect Doug to still be raising his King X and obviously his flushes. Whether or not he'd raise sets, not too sure. And Daniel quickly the fold.
Polk leading on table 1 for about $9,600.
Things are getting pricey on table 1.
Absolutely. Negreanu makes the call. Biggest pot of the day, more than 32K in the middle. Negreanu with 24K behind. 7 of clubs on the river.
Yeah, typically at this point, it's probably going to be a shove or check. So we could be seeing our first stack off of the evening, nice and early. Hasn't even been 10 minutes.
Right.
There it is.
There it is. There's the shove from Polk.
No snap call, so at least it's going to be a decision.
Negreanu makes the call with kings, and kings are good. Daniel Negreanu looks up Polk there. Polk with just ace high, and Negreanu off to quite a start in session 7.
Yeah, seeing those hands, it must have been we're gonna get a replay here.
Yeah,
a 3-bet, C-bet.
Producers Carlin and Isaac got us hooked up with the replay. So you see the 3-bet pre from Doug. Leads flop.
Yeah, sets it up for a like a 70%, geometric, as the kids say in 2020. Yeah, like a 60, 2/3. Daniel with the big hero call. And I mean, it's always, it's gonna be a call whenever you've got the top pair in those situations, but it's easier said than done to make that call. It's a nice call out of Daniel. Pulling ahead, quick start.
Yeah, good start for Daniel Negreanu.
Good to see if you're a fan of GG Poker and their ambassadors.
Right. That much is certainly true. We may be so slightly biased here on GG's channel. 6s and 4s, good enough for Negreanu on table 1. 7K in the pot on table 2. There's the overbet from Polk, which we saw frequently on Monday.
1.5x pot. It always gets a little muddy trying to figure out the exact percentages, because you see like the 5, 8, 9, 82, and it's like, all right.
Approximate guesses are good enough for us, most certainly. It's Negreanu tanking here, lays it down. 3 bets on table 1. Polk makes the call. King 10, 5, 2 hearts.
Finds the smaller sizing here.
Yeah.
Hits him with a quarter pot. Allows him to barrel more hands.
It's been a frequent size that Negreanu has used after 3-betting pre out of position, but this has not been as frequent throughout the challenge, I don't believe, but we've seen it now twice. today, Polk raising flop after Negreanu makes that quarter-size pot lead.
I can imagine this is probably a part of the game tree Daniel hasn't probably seen too often or looked at too often. So this is just going to probably make things pretty uncomfortable going forward. If this is part of Polk's adjustments throughout the series.
Negreanu does make the call and checks the deuce of diamonds on the turn.
So many draws, so many combinations of things to draw to that almost every river can be in action as long as we don't kill a 3 of clubs or something like that.
Right. There's a half pot bet by Polk, more than $10,000 on the turn.
If you're Daniel here, it'd be a good time to have kings. Oh,
how about the check shove and the snap call with the Jack 10 of hearts, and Polk does not get there on the river. Negreanu's kings are best, and the terrific start to session 7 continues for Daniel Negreanu.
What were we talking about? There was a slight lead for Doug.
Yeah, that lead has vanished.
I don't think that exists anymore. It looks like, Doug's got a half stack on the table too, but as you see the raise in position with the Jack 10 of hearts, looks like his plan was just a half pot and then probably jam almost every river. Snaps it off.
Negreanu had to dodge some bullets, which he has not been able to do for so many all-in calls throughout the course of the feud. Yeah, sees a blank river this time.
I think Daniel was not too pleased with the all-in EV.
Yeah,
as he was talking about before.
He's running about $200,000 below EV on all-ins. But again, quite the start to the day for Negreanu. His aces are even best as the 9 kicker plays on table 2.
Slightly outkicked. This is just goes to show the swings that can happen. It's not that hard to lose 1-2. It's not that hard to lose 6 buy-ins at a short period of time. It's just heads up, no limit hold'em at these stakes with players of this caliber. Chips are going to fly. Money's going to fly around.
I would say Monday was relatively quiet. We saw a big all-in early. Negreanu with aces against Polk with aces against Negreanu's Queen 5 on a King Queen 5, and Polk got there. Mm-hmm. And I think that was our only all-in and call. It was pretty slow, but action today, like bam, we show up in 2 massive pots already.
So I feel like if we were to create a correlation here, it's on my doing. I'm bringing in the good.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. We needed somebody to bring the action, and there he is, Patrick Tardif, Egption.
Naturally, I provide good content, so anywhere I go, good content follows.
That sounds perfect. That's why we brought you in. So thanks for being here. And thank you, Alex, I believe, in the YouTube chat. Alex with that subscription. Hey, there's Amanda Negreanu with the yes. And we can see why Amanda is saying that. She's fired up. Good start in the Negreanu household so far.
I'm looking for that. I couldn't find it.
And speaking of Amanda, Patrick, this Friday for what will be session 9, I will be joined by Brent Hanks and Amanda Negreanu. Sit back, have some cocktails on a Friday, just with some poker going on. It's beautiful. There's the check raise from Daniel Negreanu on table 1.
Quickly takes it down too. Pretty well connected board, 2-tone with the 3 card straight. A lot of potential, but we've had a fair amount of action. It's fine if Doug finds the bet fold here. Daniel just seems to be picking up every showdown here. Another one with the 6-7 on table 2, and
we have our first tallies in. I feel like we're calling the election as the first numbers are in. It is Alex and Jeff running the numbers for us, part of the GG production squad, and we thank them very much. So Negreanu for the session already up more than $53,000, which makes the overall feud effectively even. Polk up by about 14K or so.
The first electoral pots have gone towards Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Looks like Daniel making a stab at it. Check flop here on table 2. going for the bigger size here, attacking a range that might not be able to call 2 streets. Perhaps might just fold on 1. I'd figure, if Doug's going to be checking back there, he's going to have some hands that'll probably want to call smaller bets, but versus the larger bets, probably won't be able to withstand too much heat. Daniel picking up another showdown at table 1.
He size good there.
And typically when the kids play online, there's a lot of pre-flop decision making might take several seconds. They're all balanced with their time banks, but these guys are firing just quick, bang bang every decision. There's no like 20-second timer every street.
No, I think the play has been super fast. Makes it, I would think, very enjoyable for poker fans, the hardcore poker fans and the casual poker fans. Mm-hmm. The latter, especially being the ones who are maybe turned off by some things that we see in today's game re-tanking.
Yeah.
But no, this has been really quick.
I think when age comes a factor, I'm sure some of the kids might think, oh, Daniel's a little bit older, slower reaction times, but he's showing he's still got it.
Absolutely. Andy in the chat, good question. Well, how is Daniel up only by 50 if he's already up 80K on the left? So remember, anytime they dip below 40K, they do reload before the next hand. So there were a couple small reloads for Negreanu early on. Here's an overbet from Polk on the 5 deuce 3 deuce 5 board.
I didn't quite see the size of the pot on table 2, but Daniel wins one 10s versus King 9 on the ace 8 9. Doug unfortunately rivering a pair. This King High was still pretty good in that situation, but a little bit too good of a hand.
Thank you, Damien and Pat, for the kind words. What is up, everybody in the YouTube chat? If you have any questions for us, throw them out there. Dale in the chat says, hey, Amanda, good luck to Daniel. He rules. Martin says, Jeff and Egption, it's nice to watch the stream. Thanks for commentating. You got it. We're happy to be here.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for picking this stream. I heard, it's the
right. We got some competition.
Yeah, there's some competition. I don't know who's on. It's probably not that good. I'm sure this is by far the best commentary duel that is presented in this challenge day of day 7,
or the best that's just ever been assembled in the history.
I didn't want to say
poker.
it. I didn't want.
It's pretty close, but I would say we have the lead.
Some of those other commentators are my coworkers. They're part of the GG squad, and it's
right.
I didn't want the tension to build. It's already building up as is, and since it's out there, we'll just call a spade. But
take that, Ali Najad and Nick Schulman. Robert Kirk says, Jeff, is it real money all the time or just buying chips? This is real money. This is $200 small blind, $400 big blind. This is not a tournament. It's a cash game.
You could arguably back the truck up when this is over when you're withdrawing.
Yes, that much is true.
you might need a Brinks truck.
We have heard that from Polk. He has said back up the truck. Lucas, yes, there will be a free roll today. I'll give you that free roll password in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's quite it's unique. I would have never thought of something like back the truck up. It's a good catchphrase. It's very unique.
I like it.
Probably the highlight of the match so far for me is well done by Doug with the catchphrases.
Yes,
giving us something to cling on to.
J Max in the chat, did Mike Matiso really bet his bankroll on Daniel? I believe he bet half of it. Negreanu, I think he got 4-1 or so. John in the chat, I'm not retired from Twitch. In fact, I might bring my Twitch channel back to cover the GGPoker segment, portion, whatever you want to call it, of the World Series of Poker main event. Patrick, we are 11 days away from day 1A of the international side of the World Series of Poker main event. We have day 1B on December 5th, day 1C December 6th. They'll play down to 9 on the 7th. That final table will be at King's Casino in Rozvadov on December 15th. They'll play down to a winner, and then they will face the winner of the American tournament on WSOP.com. December 13th is day one, the one and only day one. Day two, the next day, they'll play down to 9. That final table will be at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino in Vegas on the 28th. Then we have the American winner versus the international winner, December 30th at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino on ESPN. Patrick, how's that all sound to you?
I just want to wish good luck to whoever wins the American side of it. Whoever ends up seeing out the
whoever you'll
side.
face. Yeah.
Just naturally, I would think it'd be funny if, like, on the American side it ends up being somebody that's international, and on the international side it's an American that wins.
I mean, it's
just
possible.
to really muddy, just to really muddy things up. I'm sure there's a couple of UK lads, or there's got to be a bunch of international lads living in the Vegas at the moment. Could create some interesting storylines.
So you are planning to play this, yes?
Yeah, it looks okay. I'm pretty sure I'll play one of the flights. I'd say probably like 60-70% likely. It's gonna be fun. I think anytime online 10Ks occur, it's gonna be quite the battle. All the wizards will be showing up, so looking forward to battling for the WSB main event title. And it'll be it'll interesting going forward with the live aspect of it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to that. All right, free roll password number 1, the GGPoker.tv free roll that is awarding 3 $105 tickets into the Battle of Malta Bounty Poker Tour Special. The password is heads up, capital H, capital U. Password, heads up, capital H, capital U, all one word. Heads up to get in the mix. The GGPoker.tv free roll registration open for 10 minutes, and there is no late reg. No late reg. Heads up. Amanda in the chat asked if she's sweating this pretty hard. She says, I'm definitely sweating it. Hard to be chill all the time. Pot. Big pots today already. Yeah, there we go.
Tabled. I think it's our first 4-bet pot alert.
It is indeed. And how about shove?
Does Daniel have one of the 4-bet bluff combos? Is he slow rolling with aces? No.
He does lay it down. Polk picks up an extra 10K. We didn't... To the best of my knowledge, I don't think we saw a 5-bet shove on Monday. Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you don't often get to see the 4-bet fold. Typically, it's you're just gonna be seeing 5 cards. We got robbed of it. We want some blood. we want those 6-figure pots. With a slight bias towards Daniel winning.
Maybe so slight.
Minor, yeah. He's up a little bit. So if he loses, it's all right. But
yeah, we're here for the action, certainly. Abraham in the chat says, who's the tool on the left? That's me. Hello, hi, how are you? I'm Jeff Platt. I'm joined by Egption Patrick Tardif. It is good to be here today. Thank you all for joining us. Yeah, I even thank Abraham for joining us. I'm just glad he's catching the action.
Yeah, I mean, you have been pretty useful. You've been an excellent asset. I don't know if I would phrase it as tool. That seems. I think he might be using the wrong word, but I think he had the right intentions. That you've just been great.
If it keeps him here, no matter what definition of tool he's using, I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah, I don't know if he thinks of you as a screwdriver or a hammer. I don't know. He might need to clarify a little bit more.
8s and queens for Negreanu on table number 2.
Slight pot brewing as well on the table 1.
And a 3-bet on table 2. That Negreanu calls Jack 3 deuce all diamonds.
Oh, Doug going with the pot size bet on table 1. There's a board I could see Doug having a fair amount of bluffs on, whether it's just a bear king, a bear queen, as well as the obvious value combos.
10K in the middle. Negreanu betting small on table 2.
As we hold our breath, waiting for some sort of reaction here. I think table 2 is a good spot that you don't necessarily have to bet too big. If you've got flushes, you want to make sure your opponent sticks in. As we see a 1.5x pot bet
And a check raise on table 2. Polk getting to work.
Daniel with 2 tough decisions at the same time.
Calls on table 2, sees a 4th diamond hit the board.
Oh.
And shoves on table 1.
Wow. That's
the
strong.
Check jam.
Now, I've heard Doug is a bit of a station, so we might see some interesting calls here, or we just see a boring fold.
It's 23K behind.
Now, I can see Doug having some hands that he did this with value with, that now it's like, when you get check jammed on, this is a little less bluffed, and he does find the fold. It could also be him with a bluff that just you 150% pot it, and then they jam on you, and you just sit there waiting to fold so they don't know you had a snap fold, some sort of snap bluff. Could be a little image tank fold.
Meanwhile, we shift our focus to table 2. More than 20K in the pot, 5 of spades on the river. Goes check, check. Wow. Wow. Both had flopped the flush.
Daniel gets robbed. I don't even know. I don't know if the haha emoji is the correct one. We need a bad beat emoji. That's a robbery. We got robbed of straight blood for stacks. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Now, wait, did he have 8-3 of diamonds?
8-4 of diamonds for Polk, Queen 10 of diamonds for Negreanu. They flopped the flush. The turn brings another diamond, which significantly slowed down the action. As our next tally is in, it shows Negreanu up more than $63,000 for the session. That was before the check shove got through. Which puts the high stakes feud at just about even. Stefan, good question. Will we see some video of DNegs playing from home later? I saw the setup, lots of cameras. Most of those cameras are surveillance cameras that both players have set up in their homes.
Yeah, I think I saw Doug during one of his interviews, and you see the webcam that's like faced straight towards his computer as well. Security measures. I mean, both players I think are viewed as very high in integrity. No one would no one would think that these two would be cheating.
Right.
No one has any sort of inclinations of that. But just in case, just having that backup measure.
And just in case there's an issue, we have a pretty strong arbitrator, I would say, in the poker world, a guy by the name of Phil Galfond, who took care of what seemed to me, Patrick, and please tell me if I'm phrasing this wrong, but it seemed to me like a very, 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 very slight disagreement. Disagreement might even be too strong of a word.
Yeah, it's we thought the challenge was in jeopardy. It might have been paused for weeks, maybe even months, but fortunately, Phil Galfond came to the rescue, arbitrated in a quick and timely manner, despite being in his own challenge. Finding the time to arbitrate and solving the issue of checking to whether or not Doug's allowed to check hand histories for how often Daniel's folded the buttons. I'm glad that got solved in a timely manner.
Yeah, I think it's important to note there were no accusations of malice from the Negreanu camp. Just wanted a little bit of clarification on the rules. And I love our guy, Bill Perkins, but when you read one of his tweets, maybe just take a step back. Everybody take a deep breath. See what transpires over the next couple hours, and then we can all move forward.
Yeah, whether or not a top 7 pro is involved or anything.
So true. We do have the Battle of Malta going on right now on GG. 15 ring events. You can check out coverage with Kevin Martin and Nananoku over these next 2 Saturdays. They'll feature the mini main event and the main event final tables. The mini main, a $55 buy-in, a $1 million guarantee. The main event, $550 buy-in, and a $3 million guarantee. The small lead from Polk, the raise from Negreanu.
Yeah.
Polk calls.
Fun pot, fun river. I think a check flop. Daniel raising the turn. It's gonna have 5x. He could still have some sort of combo draw or just a bare flush draw. Going with the 2/3 river size. Interesting spot. I think both players still have a pretty strong. I would guess Doug has more value combos, but Daniel still has a lot of 5s. So we waited with bated breath.
Yeah.
What does Doug do? In terms of time bank, how much time bank do they have after the initial like maybe like 10 a quick call?
Oh, Negreanu had rivered the flush.
That's a tricky way to play it too with the check back flop raising turn. You are blocking some relevant offsuit combos that Doug could have a 5x.
Let's check out this replay.
Yeah.
Raise pre and a call. Doug checks the king 5-10 2 diamond flop. Negreanu checks back, as you said. Then raises here. Polk making the call. You like this sizing from Negreanu on the river?
I feel like you could probably go larger. I think I'm not too sure what his strategy is with river sizes. You know,
Sure.
maybe a pot bet could be a little bit more approved. But I mean, anything on the larger side, you can't go wrong with. As long as it's not too small. I mean, you got a flush, you got a really strong hand. You only lose to full houses or better, and those are really hard to make. Check on the flop. Doug leading 2/3 on the turn. And imagine we're gonna see probably either a large bet on the river or a check. Whether it's pot, whether it's 1.5, 2/3, no, or just the give up. I think that's a fair option as well.
Check from Polk with about 5K in the middle.
And Daniel's probably gonna have some combos that are gonna need to and stuff that might need to turn things into bluffs.
Brownie fires a little bit more than $3,500.
As we've seen, Daniel does have flushes in his range here. After the last hand prior, as evidence, he checked back his flush draw.
Brownie takes down another one. See a stack on the left up to more than 160K.
What's the high score of stacks? What's the highest someone's got to? Because
I don't know what the biggest number in a stack has been. The best session so far has been Doug Polk's. It was session 2, which accounts for the first online session. Polk won more than $218,000. Negreanu won about 207K in session 5.
Yeah, because I'd imagine that Daniel's pushing for the high score at this moment. He's already up to four buy-ins, and we've only been streaming for what, like 20 minutes? Time's flying.
And with that, the potential gets greater and greater for a bigger and bigger pot.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if Daniel just doubles up Doug, one all in and call once, I mean, we're liable to see 160K pawn or even bigger. We could hope. The fans at home want to see it.
Yeah.
Amanda Negreanu might not like that, but I feel like the rest of the
GG bit of a sweat, yeah,
might be a big fan of that.
Third 9 pops up on table 1.
Unfortunately, missed the action there. I blame YouTube chat. You guys were paying attention. I'm always on the ball, but
always.
It's like full
6s
house for
Negreanu.
Daniel.
That'll work. That'll do the trick. Doug Polk won a little bit more than $93,000 in our last session on Monday. That was session 6, the longest session so far. They played 637 hands over the course of about 3.5 hours. Most of the other sessions have been 2 hours and in the 350 to 400 hand range.
Now looking at the chat right now, it looks like Doug's gotten up to 230,000, 225, 230. So that's the benchmark. That's what we're aiming for. Let's just see a high score.
Lee in the chat says, won the tourney troops. Cheers, Jeff. Well, cheers to you for whatever that tourney was that you won. Congrats on the takedown. It might have been the free roll. The free roll's the all in or fold. Or is it just all in? You can't even fold.
No fold.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Let's go.
Just absolutely.
So yeah, it is probably over.
Absolutely outclassed the rest of his opponents. Congratulations.
I was just gonna say, so well played, Lee. Your studying has paid off.
Yeah, if you want to do a hand history review, I'd love to go over that sometime.
Yeah, it was the free roll. That's awesome.
We can see where you can improve.
A Battle of Malta Bounty Poker Tour special ticket. So congratulations to our winners there. One more free roll coming up in about an hour. Jim, will there be a season 2 of the Big Blind? You can catch season 1 of the Big Blind on Poker Go. Thank you very much, Jim, for watching our game show. We'll keep you posted on season 2. How about that? How's that for a tease? Is our next update is going to be a good one for Daniel Negreanu, as in this session, he is already up about $113,000. That puts him up about $45,000 for the overall high stakes feud.
That's a score.
That's sizable to be up 3 buy-ins in 30 minutes. So that's a good pace, I would say.
Yeah, it sets the tempo. You build up some confidence. Maybe your bluffs will start to fire through a little bit more. I don't think Doug's the one to be affected too much from short-term variance, but if Daniel keeps this up, maybe long-term variance can get to Doug.
So certainly a battle is. Let's take a look at the odds from our friends at Poker Shares going into today. As far as this session was concerned, Doug Polk was a very slight favorite at -156, meaning if you bet $156 on Polk to win the session and he wins, you profit 100. Daniel Negreanu, the underdog, at +138, bet 100 on him, profit 138 if he wins the session. They put a spread on the session, just like a 7-point spread in a football game. This spread for this session is $25,000. Negreanu way ahead of that. Of course, the overall high stakes feud, Patrick, going into today, Poker Shares has Doug Polk at -769 and at Negreanu.
Wow.
And they have Negreanu as greater than a 5-1 underdog. You surprised by that at all?
Considering the opening odds was 4-1 and now it's getting I'm curious if things will sway even more. I mean, I think with a lot of I guess it just depends on who's action putting on. I think a lot of people are less apt to put money on Daniel. A lot of people wanted to fire on Doug, but then when the price gets too good,
sure.
I'm not one of these sports bet guys that's really good at creating lines. I'm glad it's not my line of work, because it's definitely tough, especially when there's a little bit of arbitration to it. But
sure, and we can trust Mike McDonald and the guys at Poker Shares to be fairly sharp.
Yeah, I could trust the people at Poker Shares regardless of the line you're losing. You're just gonna have a tough time. If we've learned nothing from the Timex prop bet with the basketball free throw.
Oh, what a perfect way to phrase it.
Yeah, if we've learned nothing, it's that you just don't bet against Timex.
About $12,500 in the middle on table 1. A third club hits the board. Negreanu goes for about 75% pot.
Action-y board. Got caught sleeping again. I was looking at Twitch or the YouTube chat.
It's okay. You're here when it matters.
Yeah. Big call.
Polk makes the call. Set. It is a set of queens for Daniel Negreanu, who takes down another sizable pot. Let's see that replay, guys, if we can pull that one up.
Daniel should just sit out table 2 and only play table 1 at this point. Right. It's just a slobber. It's just a battle.
This is Negreanu raising pre, Polk making the call. Check calling the $1,500 bet.
Large betting the top set. Interesting.
And then went about 75% both turn and river.
Mm.
Polk goes call.
It'll be interesting to see. I guess that'll be a hand. I'll be curious what because when you have top set, it's really hard for your opponent to have anything. Especially in a big triple off spot, it's hard for your opponent to have anything. I imagine Doug might have had something along the lines of like a strong 9 or like 10-9 or something like that. Or I know it could just be a spot where Doug just had like the other queen, the 4th queen.
Right.
Fun little.
Which really an effective cooler.
Yeah, I mean,
when we're heads up.
When you have 2 queens and there's a queen on the board, you don't really expect your opponent to have the other one, but you're excited when they do. Check.
I mean, how can you ever fold top pair, really, Patrick? Heads up, 6 max, full ring. It's hard to make a pair. Top pair. Come on.
Yeah, I'm a student of Jason Somerville's old days, and it's hard to make a pair was the mantra. Yep. And whenever you make a pair, you just got to hold the heck on. Look, ace high. See, it's hard to make a pair.
Yeah.
it's on display, king high and ace high battling, you know. I mean, they did technically make a pair with the board, but you know, it's kind of it doesn't count.
Kev says hello from South Dakota. Hello, Kev. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us from South Dakota. Thank you all for joining us. Let us know in the chat where you guys are watching us from. We know we have a worldwide audience, and we certainly appreciate every single one of you tuning in today to High Stakes Feud. Daniel Negreanu versus Doug Polk. I'm Jeff Platt. I'm joined by Patrick Tardif, Egption, part of that GG squad. And Patrick, we have Saturday sessions every Saturday with that GG squad, huh?
Yeah. The Saturday sessions, they started with the inception of the GG squad, and it's been a really good team bonding experience more than anything with the squad members. Like some of them, you know, Kevin or Easter, I was a little bit more familiar with going into, and then getting to know the rest of the crew, Jectus, Jane Andes, Khaki, the rest of the squad, getting to know them. And, you know, I made the joke on the Poker News podcast that I did with Miss Chardonnay, Auntie Chardonnay. You know, at the beginning we were talking, and you know, it's just getting to know each other, and by like session 4 or 5, you know, we're getting deep into life topics and what do we do, what's the point of life and stuff like that. And I joked that, you know, by session like 8 or 9 we'll be taking mushrooms and just having a trip together.
Really going for it.
Yeah. It's been fun. I mean, we get the gaming aspect of it where we get to play. I mean, at the moment we're playing Among Us, and you know, we start playing All in or Fold, Rush and Cash, the fast format of cash poker, allowing the viewers, allowing the fans to battle with us. And then you got the Beat the Pros event to top it off at the end of the GG squad, GG Saturday session.
Love all of that. There's the check raise from Negreanu, makes it 10K. Polk folds. Denmark, Australia, Poland, India, the moon. Thank you, Dirty Deeds, for obviously checking us out from the moon. Northern Ireland, Poland, Ireland, Louisiana, Bosnia, New Mexico, Romania, Israel, Berlin. Oh my. Just about everywhere all across the planet.
I haven't seen Toronto. What's going on there?
I've not seen Toronto yet.
Am I the only 6 representative here? What's going on?
Some Texas, got some Australia.
I was gonna
Manchester, Memphis.
I was gonna ask earlier, if you're from, it's South Dakotan. How would you pronounce that? As a Canadian, I'd like to clarify.
Kev in the chat, let us know. South Dakotans, Dakotans. I think so. London, Morocco, Romania, Liverpool. Thank you, I'm innocent, for the kind word. Somebody said from Amanda's nice car. That works. There's Amanda rocking that Tesla. There's some Toronto in the chat. J-Max, Kevin.
Appreciate it.
Rohan. I mean, you got your guys.
They're firing through London, Ontario. That's the.
But how about? I haven't seen this yet, and I know Amanda's in Vegas. I'm in Vegas. So can we get some love for the beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada? There's a Vegas.
There it is. Yeah, you just gotta make sure, you just gotta say it and then they show up.
Right.
Yeah, I've got some.
Like, okay, I'll join in this.
Toronto, Ontario. I saw some Edmontons earlier. Got Mark in the chat using the Egypt mode. Appreciate it.
There we go.
Oh,
your crew. Another check shove from Negreanu, this time on the turn, and another Polk fold. All systems go for Daniel Negreanu.
It's 195,000. It's about like 6 YouTube viewer salaries on the table right now.
YouTube viewer, poker commentators, you know, same thing.
Daniel,
thank you guys for tuning in from around the world.
Daniel might need to borrow Doug's truck at this point.
Certainly a rough start for Polk.
He might need
Dream start for Negreanu.
He might not need to start leasing to pay for the next buy-in. 4 straight board, 3 flush. Just goes check. Unfortunate for that's a really unfortunate river for Doug there. He had a
Negreanu gets saved by that river.
Top pair. Things you hate to see if you're Doug, just not going his way right now.
Ignas, good question. How many hands left? So here, for the individual sessions, the plan is always to play for 2 hours. And then the players will chat. They'll decide if they both want to continue. They'll continue most likely an hour at a time. We don't expect them to continue today for more than 2 hours, but you never know. So we're about 45 minutes in today. And at some point soon, if it hasn't already happened, we're going to pass the 10% mark in the overall high stakes feud, which does consist of 25,000 hands. So about 2,500-ish hands through with this one so far. And because of the strong start to today's session, Daniel Negreanu has taken the lead overall in the feud.
I just saw, not to take away the funny comments, Muzz86 goes, I don't know what's whiter, Egption or the hoodie he's wearing. I'd probably have to go with the hoodie. This is a strong tint of white with the hoodie, but
yeah, hoodie's pretty strong.
With winter, I already don't go outside a lot, and then COVID amplified it. I can only imagine what winter COVID will do.
Oh God, hard to get a glimpse of that sun on occasion. 7,200 in the pot, table 2, king 9 4 9 10. Flush draws do not complete.
Doug in the tank. It's him with the 2/3 button. Doug with Daniel with the quick fold. Yeah, it seems table 2 is just to get the hand count up, and then
right.
Table 1 is to get the bank account up.
And on that note, our latest numbers are in. Negreanu up more than $146,000 for today's session, puts him up about 78K, about 2 buy-ins for the overall high stakes feud.
Yeah, things are just all going Daniel's way so far. He can do no wrong. Even when he loses pots, he still wins, gets saved by particular runouts.
Thank you, Surprise Llama Ryan, for the kind words. Welcome in. Rick says Daniel will be up 300K today. You heard it here first. All right, there's the call from Rick.
All right, but Rick, we're gonna put some stakes to this. If you're wrong, you're banned from the YouTube chat.
Wow, just the straight ban.
Straight, if you're gonna make claims like that, you got to be willing to back it up. So if you want to change your tune, feel free, but just make sure Carlencho writes that name down. Get him for later. We'll do some accounting.
Good production crew here at GG. We've got Carlin, Isaac, and Eric. Got James overseeing us all. Make sure we don't do anything too stupid. Thanks to those guys. Thanks to Jeff and Alex for keeping track of the numbers, which is certainly quite the chore, and for moderating in the chat. See you, Danish sausage.
It's more than just the 2 handsome guys you see on the screen. You got plenty more doing the heavy lifting for us, making us look even better.
You're obviously referring to Polk and Negreanu. Mentioning the handsome men.
You know what?
We have, and then you have the 2 of us.
I can't believe I disrespect. There's 4 handsome men on the screen right now. I can't. I just forgot. They're just fixtures.
Ladies. Robert, good question. Jeff, are they committed to the 25K hands, or can someone walk away? There's an opt-out of sorts halfway through, so 12,500 hands in. Somebody can call it.
Yeah, I don't think Doug has any intentions on opting out. It would be quite the shock. I think it was more in the case Daniel being aware that he was the underdog, wanting to have an out, wanting to not be stuck if he's in theory he ends up getting buried. But doesn't look like it at the moment with Daniel's current situation.
Welcome in, Luke from Ireland. Thank you for joining us. Russell says you look like a poor man's David Schwimmer. I don't know which one of us that's directed to, but I will certainly take that.
Let me just, David. Okay, that's friends, right?
Yeah,
Ross.
Ross.
Make sure. But Ross doesn't have a beard. Oh, there's a beard. Yeah. I don't know. You're just comparing 2 handsome guys. It is what it is.
There we go. There's a 4-bet from Negreanu on table 2.
Well, there's a fifth.
I love the emoji usage.
we need some emoji throwing. I don't know if this particular software still has the throwing mechanics. I don't know if these guys have mixed up some tomato throws or anything like that.
Patrick, I know you don't have the pleasure of playing on WSOP.com like we do in Nevada and New Jersey. We do not have the throwing software to say the least. We're lacking in a little bit.
I think if they did have it, I can only imagine the metagaming. You know, there's a Doug 1.5x pots and then just starts throwing trophies.
We've seen a little bit of the chat feature used, which on WSOP.com, the chat window is still there. You can say whatever you want, but once you submit it, once you hit enter, it goes ... It's just an ellipses. So no matter what you say, it shows up as a ... So we have seen the ... dots back and forth a couple of times.
Interesting.
Yeah, but overall, it's hard to talk too much.
Yeah, who needs chat moderation when you can just remove it altogether?
There's our guy Brent Hanks in the mix in the chat. We'll see him on Friday. I'll be joined by Brent and Amanda Negreanu.
Trio casting.
Yeah. Crew reuniting.
Oh, Doug with the river raise. Looks like it was a check. I think it might have been a check flop, check turn. Looks like Daniel potted river and he raised. I feel like I got that right. Might have missed that one. But it was a river.
Sitting out. Probably time for a quick bathroom break for Mr. Negreanu. Although he's going to play one more hand on table number 2.
Does look he's going to play his button before he heads out. I think wasn't there a bet whether or not what he had taken a break from in the yesterday's challenge?
Yes, I believe so. We've seen a couple of that. The guys asked him last week. He's like, I drink a lot of coffee. I just go to the bathroom real quick. I come back and here we are, and they're good to go. So, Patrick, your initial impressions after this first 50 minutes, hour or so of play?
It does sort of seem like Daniel can do no wrong, regardless of the runouts or the hands. Daniel finds his way out on top on table 1. Daniel is taking control of this day, sees the moment, has gone up an absurd amount already. I think what it looks to be 4 or 5 buy-ins. It seems like it's Daniel's day. And when you play heads up, it's these sort of things are going to happen. It's not always just going to be one person who's better always winning at a slight margin. You're going to have swings where, you know, the other player is going to just stomp and just win.
Negreanu is winning, up almost $147,000 for the session, about $78K overall for the feud. Amanda Negreanu says, honestly, I'm surprised he doesn't pee more. He pees more than any person on earth. I mean, that's the insight we're going to get from Amanda Negreanu come Friday. We will be here tomorrow as well. So they're going 4 times this week. They played on Monday. They played an extended session on Monday. Here we are on Wednesday. Jeff Platt joined by Egption, Patrick Tardif. We're in the mix. GGPoker.tv. Make sure to click like, to click subscribe. Big plans in the future for GG's YouTube subscribers. Be sure to click that subscribe button, click share, click comment, all that good stuff. Back to the action.
Things are kicking back off. It was a quick break. You know, it could have been a bathroom break, could have been a quick coffee refill break. Definitely wasn't a coffee spill break where, you know, I feel like that would take a little bit longer to wipe off, make sure everything isn't sticky. So we could probably eliminate that.
I think we're good there.
List of things that could have caused the stoppage. Has Doug ever sat out during the challenge yet?
Negreanu is usually the first to click the sit out button.
Yeah, Doug's just always laser focused. He made sure he hits the bathroom before the challenge starts. He's willing to sit. I don't know if either of these guys have implemented a standing desk regimen for this challenge yet, or if it's purely sitting.
I know Negreanu has that recliner that I believe Amanda set up for him, where he's just laying back, living life, enjoying.
When I see that, I think of the 2 months, 2 million, where the two guys were talking, and the one guy had his leg up like this while playing. And it's like I don't know how you can expect to win tens of thousands playing like that. I don't know how you expect that to be the way that you win. Because Danny Stern. It's been a while. I'm sure
that was a while ago, huh?
There's a small chance. It was, I was just a kid back then. I might have been
You're still a kid, Patrick.
I won't make anyone feel old. I was 22, I'm sure. Yeah. No. Not too crazy of pots here. Got a small one, 3,000. Actions on Daniel.
We do have one more free roll to come. The GGPoker.tv free roll awarding 3 seats into the $105 Battle of Malta Bounty Poker Tour Special, event number 9. So I'll give out the password to that free roll. Oh my God, the queens. Hello, ladies, today for Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, it's like the 5th time we've seen him with top set with queens that we've seen.
Right.
He might have had other times.
Absolutely on fire. Thank you, Black Hole, for the kind words. So that free roll password is going to come to you in about 25 minutes.
But if you guys keep asking, we'll add another 5 minutes.
Every time one person asks, we're never playing that.
Every time someone goes free roll password, add 10 seconds. So there's that way there's more peer pressure to stop people from spamming it. Just different strategies we're implementing to make chat experience a little bit stronger for everyone.
How about this on the left? 3-bet pot pre. More than $13,600 in the middle. Jack of hearts on the turn.
With a check
from Polk.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what decision Daniel will come up with here. I imagine if he's just does bet the smaller size. I kind of feel like when he bets the smaller size here, he's probably going to have a little bit more check back rivers sort of things. Betting hands that he doesn't mind generating some check folds that have dug, and then just allowing himself to check back.
Another queen on the river, almost 20K in this pot.
I wonder if I see Daniel check back with a jack, or if he has a queen. If he had like a weaker queen, if he just pots it here. Something like nope.
Gonna check back. It was 9s for Polk. 9s are good. First sizable pot for Polk, maybe all day.
I think it's the first opportunity Daniel's had to not have trip queens.
Right.
Yeah. The luck is fading. I need another sit out. 3-bet pot and a raise in position. The king 6 deuce 2-tone. We've seen Doug with the raise in position in the 3-bet pots. Now it's time for him to taste a little bit of his own medicine, and he knows how to respond with the 3-bet.
Clicks back, makes it $14,334.
Some 2006 poker action, and takes it down. I think that's one thing I enjoy about Heads Up No Limit Hold'em, and the not sure if. I don't know who's it for, if it's for the Daniels raise, if it's for Doug's 3-bet. I'm not sure who had what there. That'd be an interesting one to look at.
We will talk to Daniel Negreanu, an exclusive interview with Kid Poker after the day is done. Anthony in the chat says, cool as hell that Amanda is actually in the chat and actively talking to the fans. That's why the Negreanus are loved by us fans. Hard to disagree with that, and with the ambassadors that both Daniel and Amanda are. Always willing to take the time, chat with the fans, chat with the media, represent the game very well.
And I mean, Daniel at this point has been at the forefront of poker ambassadorship for since its inception, since the Moneymaker era. Ever since Moneymaker won that WSB main, Daniel Negreanu has been a household name. It's Daniel betting large, 75% on the river here. Taking it down. Easy game. Now, I believe they've talked about the opportunity, whether or not it ends up coming up, whether they start 3-tabling. I imagine that'll make commentary a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Things will get squeezed in even more. You'll probably need to start naming tables besides 1, 2, 3.
I don't know if my brain can handle 3.
It's hard enough
with 2.
Yeah, it's hard enough to play 2 tables, but then to commentate 3.
Yeah. It could be difficult.
Oh, Doug with his
fourth.
catchphrase caught Daniel's hand in the cookie jar there with the bluff catch.
Surge of momentum for Doug Polk. Tyler in the chat. As we take a look at the replay, I want to shout out to GGPoker. Came out of nowhere and really has shown they care about their audience. Great content, great cash games, great structured tournament. Props to you guys. Well said.
Yeah,
All right, Patrick, what do we see in this one?
Looks like I have check flop, small bet turn, and Daniel goes for the river bluff. Doug not buying it, calling with his bottom pair. I think it's a spot where I'd probably expect Daniel to have bet a lot of his aces, probably a good amount of his jacks. So when he checks back flop, he's probably not going to have too many value combos. I guess he still has some deuces. But I imagine a lot of his strategy is going to have, him betting his aces, him betting a lot of his jacks, especially strong jacks, to the point where he probably won't have very many strong value combos. Could have aces for aces full of deuces. Fun one, though, nonetheless.
Now a 3-bet from Polk on table 1.
We see the 4-bet.
4-bet.
I do feel like we've seen an absurd amount of 4-betting. It doesn't. I feel like at every opportunity, it seems like a 4-bet has come. I feel like
and both have used same sizing. Like they both make it about 10,600.
Yeah, they're slightly over. I think 125 bigs to start this one. So yeah, it might not see too many 5-bet jams here. It's more of a 100 bigs thing, I would say.
Polk makes the call. 10-6-3, all clubs, more than 21K in the pot.
Start. Given past trends, I'm going to imagine, we're going to see a quarter pot, something like a 20-25% size. Quickly takes it down as well. Looks like Doug completely whiffed it.
Nice pickup for Daniel Negreanu. Up to almost 200K on table 1.
Yeah, the 4-bet pot. Daniel with the 3 clubs. If he's got a strong hand, or if he's got bluffs, he doesn't need to necessarily bet too large. There's not a lot of things to worry about. As we see, Doug's going to have a lot of easy decisions, whether it's check calls or check folds. So, well played out of Daniel.
Well played indeed. We were discussing GG a minute ago. If you guys haven't had a chance to fire on there, you can do it now. You can choose your bonus. Get $100 in free tournament tickets or a 100% match up to $600. And throughout the month of November, they are giving away $5 million. Just giving it away. $1 million to the Russian Cash Daily Leaderboard, 20K a day to the Spinning Gold Daily Leaderboard, the Hold'em Daily Leaderboard, the Omaha Daily Leaderboard, and you just have to log in. You win a free Spinning Gold ticket. Patrick, you fire the Spinning Golds at all?
I have. During the Battle of Malta, there's been a leaderboard challenge between me and some of the other streamers, and I had to spin a 10-time spin and go multiplier. So naturally, I decided to play the numbers game and just play 12 tables of 25-cent games at once.
Okay.
Which is just an absolute delight, especially with the GGPoker structures. If you spin a smaller multiplier, it just goes quick. So you just gotta. I'm just literally just mashing the all-in button on every single one just to get the 10x multiplier. It's just worth more in value than the 25 cents that I lose. I ended up winning. I ended up spinning it and winning it. That was a highlight of the day.
There we go.
One of the, I don't know if that not sure if was that me bragging that I could play 12 or if there was a hand we just missed.
Where can we find you on Twitch?
If you guys are looking for more of this handsome commentator, I believe it's at Jeff Platt on Twitter. Yeah, but if you're also looking for me, the other guy, twitch.tv/Egption, Egption, spelt incorrectly. Yes, I know. A lot of people are quick to say, hey, you spelled Egyptian wrong.
You haven't heard that one before, have you?
Egyptio, and they go O-N. They don't go A-N. A lot of the times when they correct, they add the Y, but they don't change the
they don't do the I.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's just like every time. It used to be more complicated with the Twitter. It's IR Egyptian, which it's a train wreck to try to pronounce if you've never seen it before. We got a raise in position here. I believe 3-bet pot. Things are brewing here on table 1.
More than 15K in the middle. Second 6 pops up on the turn.
And I believe if I were to make some guesses at ranges, I guess Daniel's still going to have 4s. He's going to have 9s. He's going to have 6s. So he could have full houses. He could have that one combination of quads. 4th spade on the river. We could see some fireworks here. I think both players could still be capable of having some stronger hands.
Jack of spades on the river.
Could this be Daniel's opportunity to use a 2x pot button? Just hit him with the all-in. Nope. The 20%er.
Instead goes small.
I've heard about these 20% river sizes. Hits him with the come on and gets the value with the nut flush.
Spades.
He had top. The infamous Jamie Gold top. But improves to 2 pair and then improves to the flush.
Let's check out a replay from that hand. It was Polk, the 3-better pre. Negreanu called 9-6-4, all spades. Negreanu raise flop. They went check on the turn. River Jack of spades. Negreanu getting a little bit of value there. Robert in the chat. Jeff, any plans that we see cards other than at Showdown? I think there may be plans in the future for a hint of cards up coverage, but I won't dive into those quite yet.
As someone in YouTube has clarified, I didn't say chop. I said top. Quite the, probably one of the best WSP main moments.
And no question about it. I could watch those 2006 episodes all day, every day. Biscuit in the chat says, y'all just missed a hero queen high call because y'all are talking about yourselves.
We were talking about Jamie Gold.
Right. I mean, it's such a great platform to talk about ourselves, too. Yet thousands of you listening.
I mean, I'm sure Jamie Gold appreciates it.
Yeah, right. Gave Jamie some free publicity. Interesting board here.
Finds the call. Daniel with the straight.
More value for Negreanu.
That stack is brewing. I mean, we saw in chat, confirmed 225, 230 was the record. Things are zooming up now.
He's building quite the stack. Our latest numbers are in, and they have Negreanu up by almost $150,000 in this session. It's up almost 4 buy-ins at more than $81,000 for the feud overall. JJ in the chat is GGPoker restricted to certain states. Unfortunately, GG does not have a presence yet in the United States of America.
It is restricted.
Strong international one. Yeah,
restricted so much that no states actually have it.
Restricted to 0. But hopefully in the future we can find some GG here. That'd be wonderful. I'm jealous of you in Canada, Patrick, with your GG access.
Yeah, a lot of luxuries playing on GGPoker. One of them, definitely a highlight of being Canadian. So we look Daniel with that massive stack. Oh, Doug with the river straight there. I think it was a. You can see the replay. It was like a 6-7, 6-6, 9 board.
If we have the table 2 replay, we can fire it up.
Let's see a replay here. Goes with the smaller bet on the flop. Oh, it was a double paired board. Okay. Check turn. Going for some value with the 2/3 river size. Daniel with the call. Gets the bad news. I imagine Daniel could have looked him up there with some ace highs, maybe some king highs. Could have had a 9 as well. A lot of things that Daniel could add.
And look at this, more than 16K in the pot on table 1.
Oh, goodness.
5 of clubs on the river. Queen 10, 6 deuce 5, 3 clubs. Goes club.
Daniel.
Queens for Polk. That'll be good enough.
Queens have betrayed Daniel. Doug taking it down with top pair queens. Not even that strong of a kicker either.
Blake drinking out of a straw, LOL. You know, Blake, if you drink these energy drinks without a straw, they're going to absolutely ruin your teeth, my friend. Blake.
Doesn't that go for all carbonated beverages?
Yeah, sparkling water, Sprite, Coke,
Yeah.
whatever. Blake, join me. Join Team Straw. Embrace the straw, my friend.
Is it a reusable metal straw?
It's a no comment on the straw. Anyway, Polk 3 bets on table 1.
Oh man, I was hoping to prop you up. I ended up just pushing
Good
you
emoji
down. That's
usage,
on me,
guys. Yes, Negreanu
4
4 bets.
Negreanu's been sauce bossing it with the 4 bets. He's just firing away.
Whether the tank.
Whether this is a strategy or Daniel just keeps rolling high with his frequencies, as the internet kids say.
Polk makes the call. More than 21K in the pot. Ace 5 4 2 spades. Polk with 38K behind. Polk checks. Negreanu checks behind. Deuce of spades on the turn. 3rd spade. 1 liner to a straight.
This is a 4-bet pot as well, so it's in effect as close to a brick as you can get, because it's kind of hard for a lot of people in a lot of situations for them to have a 3. Interesting what Daniel responds with here after going check on the flop.
Goes 4,400. Smallest bet we've seen, and a quick fold from Polk. James, is online gambling banned in the US? How are these two playing that? No, it is not. In Nevada and New Jersey, you can play poker, real money poker, on WSOP.com. That's where these two are.
I believe I've been told to keep up with your energy drink usage. I should crank out some pre-workout instead.
Oh,
I'm gonna pass.
Crank it out. Crank it out.
Interesting verbiage, but
Polk has cranked out a check raise.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say there's been a lot of queen high boards, a lot of queen tendencies. You know, a lot of people that it's a useless thing to pay attention to. But you know, I'm just gonna bring eyes to it. It just means absolutely nothing, but I can't help but see the trend.
That's fine. That's what you're here for, to recognize trends.
Yeah, this is the color commentary that's been needed. See here, queen high boards have that's a raise as well.
Yeah, it makes it 7,100.
Oh my goodness, we're having a pot here.
Ow.
We're going to town.
Polk with 30K behind, almost 21K in the middle.
Could this be Daniel's opportunity to 150% pot it? Or will he hit him with a 20%er?
Negreanu wins small pot on table 2.
It's thinking. Checks back.
Oh, his trip queens for Doug Polk.
If Daniel won that, he might have eclipsed the record. That was a high score pot.
High score, I like that.
Yeah.
The highest number under somebody's name.
Mm-hmm.
3-bet pot again on table 1.
Nothing but the best on table 1. Table 2 has had some 4-bet pots as well, and they're still sitting 50 effect or 50,000 effective. Not too much going on table 2. Other than a check raise. I guess there is some stuff going on table 2. We've got a 3-bet pot and a check raise pot.
Action starting to pick up a little bit with about 45-50 minutes left in this session.
Okay. Daniel continuing a small here. Any check raises, he can still have... He's going to have a fair amount of club combos, some backdoor clubs, some hands that might make backdoor straights. This is an interesting river. It's pretty bad one, I would say, typically for Daniel, because if he has any flushes, if he has any, any sort of bluffs, it's really hard to make someone, especially if Doug's caliber, folds in these scenarios, especially if Doug has a full house or better. As we've seen, Doug is not the type to fold.
Negreanu checks river on both table 1 and table 2.
Yeah, table 1 bloating to double table 2. Wow. Daniel taking it out with a 6-7 in the 3-bet pot.
Sevens are good. And here it is quad and jacks for Doug Polk to take down a $25,000 pot.
Yeah, they're trading. I would have to guess Daniel probably had a 3 there with the check raise flop. Bet small turn to sort of block bet.
Take a look at a replay. Jack 3, 2 spades. There's that check raise. The lead on the turn.
The 80% river. Daniel seemingly with a pretty quick caller. Yeah, I feel like the way Daniel played that, I mean, check raising Jack 3, you're going to have a fair amount of 3s that you're going to want to check raise with. And then when the spade completes on the turn, you're still going to want to bet turn to deny some equity. And just some of your value hands might want to pick smaller sizes as well. And then perhaps planning on larger river sizes. And then the jack on the river, you make a full house, but it's typically not that great. Big spot for Doug, especially after losing the 3-bet pot on table 1.
Right. Was in some real trouble. I mean, still is overall for this session.
Yeah.
But a nice little bounce back for Doug Polk. I saw somebody in the chat ask if we were NBA fans. I certainly am. Patrick, you a Raps fan?
I am a Raps fan.
Okay.
Almost defending champs back to back. Could have.
That's right.
It was the Boston series was good fun. Didn't end up panning out, but oh well.
I mean, a real impressive effort to defend the title, just overall all season. You know, I think a lot of people were down on the Raptors, which kind of made sense because Kawhi Leonard was no longer on the Raptors. But man, they were impressive. Man, they were fun to watch. We do have the NBA draft tonight. All of you in the chat, if you are an NBA fan, let us know who you think will be the first pick. Patrick, you've been following the draft buzz, the draft rumors, seeing what the Raptors will do. Is there some Fred VanVleet trade buzz? You know, it's just draft week is very interesting, especially this year in the NBA.
I've heard doesn't OKC have first through 32nd?
Yeah, right. No, that's in 2026.
Okay.
That's what OKC gets all their picks.
I've been seeing some trade
OKC
stuff. OKC has just every first round pick. No, I'm when it comes to the draft, I'm not that knowledgeable. I have heard the VanVleet might be getting traded, might be leaving Toronto. I mean, it just breaks my heart. He's a staple of the Raptors at this point.
Does seem to be a 3-horse race for the top pick. Anthony Edwards out of Georgia, James Wiseman kind of sorta out of Memphis. He played like 3 games there. And of course, the polarizing LaMelo Ball. All the names mentioned in the chat.
He was playing in Australia, right? That's the youngest one. He wasn't able to play college ball because he played pro ball in like Europe or something.
Yeah, but I think also in that case, he and RJ Hampton, they just chose the international route.
Yeah.
And soon the NBA has fixed this. So soon, I don't think that next year's draft, but in 2 years, you'll just be able to enter the draft right out of high school once again.
They're bringing that back. When
Yes,
did they stop doing that? Not to diverge.
Like a little while ago. Because we'll go on tangents here and there. And NBA tangent isn't a terrible one.
Didn't LeBron come straight? I know Kobe was obviously the infamous one, and
then
LeBron came straight out of high school as well. It's always crazy. I mean, I remember when I was 18. I wasn't an athletic specimen, but I definitely wasn't an adult.
So you weren't ready to be drafted in the first round of the NBA at the age of 18? That's weird.
I was probably ready to be drafted for the first round of a Halo competition. That's about it. I was ready for a Halo tournament. No, nothing else. Looks like Daniel accumulating the high score potential still out there for Daniel. 200, just under 220,000. Daniel picking up another pot with a 10 as well. Sizable one. This is a pretty low morale day here for Doug. We might see some sadder tweets out of Doug in the next 24 hours. Perhaps Doug will try to push to make sure the line gets a little bit closer. Some sort of tweet like that.
Suman Deep in the chat says, "Oh, please stop the NBA chat already." All right, asking you shall receive, or asking because it's been 2 minutes on the NBA, we shall shift back to poker, no problem.
All right, we'll go straight to golf.
Right, our latest numbers have Negreanu up about $148,000 for the session, about $80,000 overall. Last thing, there is some LaMelo Ball hype in the chat saying he's going to be the best Ball brother at the very least. Kid certainly has potential. Okay, now I'm done.
Okay, yeah, I'm not the most knowledgeable basketball fan. I'll be honest. I usually end up just tuning in during the playoffs.
That's fine. The playoffs are fine. You can jump on the bandwagon at any time.
Yeah, I just follow one of my good buddies is very knowledgeable in the NBA streets, and I just piggyback whatever he tells me. he tells me that the Raps are going to be really good this year, 10 games in. I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'll just buy in. You see check flop on table 1. Daniel with the 75% bet on the turn. Going to a river, $5,000, but only 12 big blinds, 12 and a half big blinds. To make it sound boring, but in reality, it's still $5,000. Yeah.
One more minute, and then I will give you guys the free roll password.
Next person that asks, it's going to be 4 minutes though. So he's told you.
Don't mention it at all.
No exclamation point free roll in the chat. Just wait. Now
Stakes Feud.
I'd be curious what Poker Shares is going to have as the line at this moment, whether or not Daniel is going to set the high score. Perhaps I'm inspiring Poker Shares to set a line going forward, a high score table stack.
I like that. Use that.
Innovate the prop betting game. Yeah.
All right, that free roll password is available if you want to jump in. The GGPoker.tv free roll starts in 10 minutes and only 10 minutes of registration, no late reg, with 3 $105 Battle of Malta tickets on the line. That password is DUEL, capital D, DUEL, DUEL. That is the password for the free roll, the GGPoker.tv free roll. 3 $105 Battle of Malta, event number 9. Bounty Poker Tour special. Tickets are awarded.
And you know who's going to be playing that tournament?
Who would that be?
He's got 2 thumbs. This guy.
I don't know. Oh, you. Oh, gotcha. Okay. You feel good about your game though? I think your game's been struggling. I've been watching your streams, and I don't know if you can handle this kind of format. You know,
the problem is like I'm not winning the tournaments, and that's a key aspect I think in poker is winning the tournament. I'm pretty good at getting to the end of it, but yeah, you are onto something there. I'm not winning these tournaments, these bigger tournaments lately.
I mean, this free roll is going to be a tough test for you and for everybody because you're just all in every hand. So get good hands, okay? That's my advice to you.
That's some 2016 Twitch poker advice from Parker Talbot, Tonka P.
Yeah, right. Tonka.
The get good cards strategy is the
gotta get good cards. So check raise from Daniel Negreanu. He's had plenty of good cards today. Getting value from those cards as well.
Not a queen on the turn, surprisingly.
Weird.
Yeah, it's a little offbeat to be an ace. It's a bit of an interesting one. I would say this is going to be a little bit better for Doug, which will probably make Daniel have to check a little bit more, especially if he's going to... It makes things a little bit stickier when it comes to bluffs because Doug is going to have more hands that are prepared to call down. If, say, the turn was like a 7 or a 5, makes things a little bit easier for Daniel to keep betting.
A 1/3 pot from Doug on the turn.
We could see a double check raise here.
Ooh.
Could be a little saucy. No, we'll just do the check
call instead. Jack of clubs on the river. 10K in the pot. Action on Doug Polk.
who was the aggressor on the turn, did put out a smaller bet. Oh, so Daniel did have a potential double check raise hand.
He did indeed, as he flopped trip sixes.
You know what? I could feel that he had a 6, but he just wasn't feeling my double check raise energy back.
Okay.
All right.
You know. Check out the replay of that one. Take us through this one, Patrick. What'd you see here?
We see the flop quarter size, or I guess 30% size, quick check raise. Daniel getting tricky with the 6, opting to check. Doug puts out a smaller size bet, bets 30%. Flush completing river. Doug wants none of it. Be fun to see what Doug ended up having in that. If he had had some sort of ace, if he had a hand that just decided not to bluff. Yeah, Daniel with a very strong hand as well with the 6 of clubs. If he was somehow running into an opponent with a 6, he has the 6 of clubs, so he knows that it's even harder to make a flush around there or complete a flush. Fun one.
Well diagnosed. Nice pot for Negreanu, who is up more than $150,000 for this session alone. Puts him up more than 80K in the high stakes feud. This is session 7. We have passed the 10% mark of the overall feud. Doug Polk coming in with a river raise here after Negreanu led for $2,500. Polk making it more than 8K. Negreanu calling, Polk showing him the kings.
The Cowboys, the King Kongs. Many names, also known as the winning hand here on table 1.
One of the biggest pots for Polk today. Gets a little value on the river.
Now I see them adding at you, but I can't help but read it. Can we get Mike the Mouth on commentating?
Ooh,
that's
well. If Mike's here, there's no reason for any one of us to be here. I think just Mike will do just the trick.
I mean, he's not playing, so we don't have to worry about any at-risk bad beats. Where
that's true. Yeah.
He needs to start writing down the victims that.
But he admitted that he had a large percentage of his bankroll on Negreanu. Yes. So if things go Polk's way, that could get a little dangerous. I'm down for it though. Yeah. Thank you, Avi and Tom, for the kind words. We appreciate it. You got 5 more minutes to register the GGPoker.tv free roll. The password is DUEL, capital DUEL. 3 $105 tickets to event number 9 of the Battle of Malta, the Bounty Poker Tour special. Those tickets each worth $105. The Battle of Malta is still going on GG. 15 ring events. Check out coverage with Kevin Martin and Nananoku over these next 2 Saturdays. They'll have the mini main event and the main event final tables.
It's the final weekend of the Battle of Malta before I get to table 1. Lots of the conclusion of the $500 main event, $3 million guarantee. As we see, let me just get back to the check raise flop. Doug potting the turn and Daniel sitting out. Is it a coffee break? Is it a bathroom break?
Pretty sure it's a coffee or bathroom break for Mr. Negreanu. That'll put our lovely screen back on us. Jeff Platt, Patrick Tardif, you know him as Egption from the GG squad. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate it. So, Patrick, the headline for this one is just got to be how overall Negreanu is rolling. Everything's been pretty smooth for him.
Yeah, one of the terms the kids are saying nowadays is I'd love for all the viewers to learn. Daniel is beaming Doug right now. He's beaming Doug absolutely. He's setting records almost with his chip stacks. A lot of things just going Daniel's way right now.
The banana break is popular. It could be coffee, could be going to the bathroom, could be having a banana. All good.
Could just be a leg stretch break, when you're slouched behind the desk, just like lean back like this, you might need to stand up.
Standing up. Could just be sitting back.
My comedic joke needs me to fix my chair now. I grabbed the wrong flap. Oh, and we're back.
Just like that. We're back to the action. I'm Steve. Anyone know the current overall net winnings losses? Yes, we do. We know that overall Negreanu is up in the high stakes feud by a little bit more than $80,000. That is thanks to today's session where he's won more than 150K at last count.
Daniel making Good work of Doug so far. We got a 3-bet pot to kick things off. Daniel with the smaller flop size. Hitting him with the quarter. Oh, and we get a raise. This is going to be a scenario where I think both players do reasonably well. Daniel's 3-bet bluffs are going to do very well on this flop. Doug's calls of the 3-bets do pretty well. Both players. Oh, and we
all of it, and a snap call. Ace king of spades for Negreanu, and he gets there on the river with the 10 of spades.
Oh, what a pot! And the ha emoji, perhaps a come on emoji as well. On top of that, Daniel getting his all-in EV back. Wins. I think you're a slight favorite. I think it's like 52%. You know, I've been playing poker full time for 4 years. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to flex my knowledge. I think you have 52%.
Had the overs along with the flush draw. There you see it. It's queens for Doug Polk in an absolute cooler spot. And Negreanu does finally get some all-in EV his way. The stone cold nutter butters for Negreanu, taking down a pot of almost $100,000.
And just when we thought table 2 wasn't exciting, they come out with something like that.
Now, the biggest pot of the day.
Yeah, the last bathroom break wasn't as rewarding for Daniel.
Right.
This one comes in true. Looks like they're playing a pretty big pot already again.
Yeah, right back to work.
And both pots. Doug potting the turn here on table 1. Table 2 up to 10,800.
Betting
Daniel
8K.
Making quick work of Doug's chips here. This could be a scenario where when he bets this big, he's probably preparing for river jams as well. Doug with a quick check. This could be a river that slows things out.
Ace high.
Doug with the monster combo draw. Connects. Doesn't get paid off on the river.
Flop the nut flush draw on the open ender. Nice pot for Polk. Perhaps a much needed pot with the way things were headed for him in this session. Daniel asked how many hands have they played so far. They're about probably 2,650, 2,700, which means we are past the 10% point. The plan is to play 25,000 hands in the high stakes feud,
which is quite the amount of hands.
Oh yeah, we could be here. I mean, not here like specifically over these next couple hours or so. We expect to wrap up today in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it seems Daniel's plans going forward. Before we get to that, quick large river bet
8-ball
on table 1. Top two pair there, 9s and 8s are going to get it done. Daniel, I don't, maybe if he's probably not listening, but the high score, we need to push for this. Keep 3-betting, keep battling. Can't let Doug hold that. I forget what I was talking about before. I had a point. And
just want to clarify, I did say ace high when he did have a straight. So I do make mistakes quite frequently. I'm surprised that's the first noticeable one that I've made.
I mean, it's been
just
an hour
FYI
and a half
to the chat. Yeah.
we're doing pretty gosh.
I was like, oh, that's weird that ace high wins that. Whoops. So my bad. I do apologize.
No, he had 5 in a row from 4 to ace. Yes.
But he also had an ace.
Yes.
Which is a high card.
He had a straight with an ace kicker.
That's
if we were playing 6-card poker, it would have played, but they're playing the no limit hold'em 5-card variant. So
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, I was just confused at the game type. So
perhaps there was some weird hold'em variant where you had to play 2 of your cards. Things could get weirder. Yeah. Daniel picking up another pot, high score. I'm gonna fill this in.
It's at 210K on table 1. Latest numbers, and you'll see them pop up on your screen soon. Negreanu up about $190,000. for the session. More than 122K overall.
Yeah, and a lot of these sessions we've seen Doug with the combo monster stacks, Daniel with the big stacks this time around. Doug in unfamiliar territory.
Stick around when we are done. We'll have an exclusive interview with Daniel Negreanu, get his thoughts on this session. A very good session so far.
It's just a slight aside of noticing their avatars. Daniel, of course, Canadian with the Canadian flag avatar. Has Doug always had the American flag, or was this to combat the Canadian flag? Doug
Has he always? I'm not sure. I mean, he has for this challenge, at least from what I've seen, he's rocked the American flag. So we have that USA versus Canada setup.
Yeah, we've got some nationalities at play here.
Amanda says, great commentary. For real, guys, I like this Patrick dude. He's good. I certainly agree.
I appreciate the kind words.
Kevin says, can we get Amanda live commentary on an upcoming stream? Ask and
you shall
receive. We'll see you on Friday. Myself, Brent Hanks, and one Amanda Negreanu. That'll be a fun one. Bring some cocktails, folks.
That's a long session too, so they're probably
they might go long on Friday too. Yeah, we might. Plentiful amount.
Might need bottle service at that point.
Yeah. That would certainly work for us. Oh, Danish says first 3 sessions is avatar with some guy with sunglasses.
Okay, so yeah,
Thank you,
Doug.
Alex.
So Doug perhaps feeling the heat of the Canadian avatar. Yeah, needing. I mean, he had the avatar, the sunglasses one, and he was doing really well. Perhaps there's some avatar switching jinxes in play as well.
Oh, perhaps.
Whenever things are going on, you got to. Forget that large check. That's a massive check raise.
Get that sizing.
A 2x pot almost check raise. What a play out of Doug, and quickly takes it down. Doug not afraid to use the bigger sizes and does make things more interesting. Yeah,
we've seen that over the last week and a half.
Those of you watching at home, if you want to help Doug, you could save him from checking the hand replays by letting us know how many times Daniel folded the button. we could fade controversy if somebody else just keeps track.
And what a controversy it was. Whew. All the drama, the challenge delayed, but then it wasn't delayed.
It quickly solves. Oh, the river raise coming from Doug. Daniel with what feels now to be a very traditional small river size. And these wet textures. And he's in the tank and finds the folds.
Lays it down.
It does seem like...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it does seem like when Daniel does find those smaller sizes and Doug raises, I feel like we haven't... I'm waiting for hopefully we get to see a Daniel 3-bet just to make it real interesting.
Here's a Doug 3-bet on table 2, pre-flop. Negreanu makes the call, 10-8, 7-2 clubs.
Pretty fun flop, 10-8, 7. I think this is going to be more favorable towards Daniel at this point. Jack on the turn.
2 clubs, 2 hearts out there, 1 liner to a straight.
A straighty flushy board. Straighty flushy drawy board. I believe some of the caliber
technical term.
Someone of the caliber of Joe Stapleton might characterize it. Yeah.
And
things get more
draws come
complicated.
in. King of hearts.
I can't even think of all the different hands you could have here. It's too many. You can have 2 pairs. You can have straights. I don't know if anyone has a set here though. Doug with the small size.
About 2,500.
Feels like a spot I wouldn't expect to see Daniel have too many raises and have it for value. I think a lot of does find the call.
Just call.
Wow.
Jackson 7. So they flopped a straight flush draw in a pair.
Doug with the correct thin value. I actually really like that value bet. That was pretty clean. Perhaps Daniel river to king there. Some sort of decent showdown value. That was a fun one. Those are
That
the ones you
was.
look for. Yeah. Doug showing he's still laser focused. He's
Absolutely. There are going to be plenty of swings in this one,
in it.
both ways.
Ooh, we get to see a over bet on the
There
turn
we go.
here.
From Negreanu, betting 7K into 5K.
A fun one. Lots of rivers can make things complicated and make things exciting. Clubs, spades, fours, fives. Let's just name the gamut. Aces, kings, let's go for it. 7 of spades is one of those.
Almost 19K in the pot.
48,000 effective, as the Wizards would say. 120 big blinds. Let's make it even annoying.
Ooh, how about deuces and threes? Bottom 2 pair for Doug Polk.
The super skinny for all my run it up Reno or Reno locals. The 3 deuce, very powerful hand if you're playing in Reno. I don't think either players are in Reno, Nevada right now. They're playing from Vegas, but
I was gonna check out Run It Up Reno for the first time this year, but then obviously this global pandemic.
yeah, I was definitely heartbroken. I had the first opportunity to go to a Run It Up Reno in October 2017.
Okay.
And I went to every single one after that.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow. So you must have liked it at least a little bit.
I became a fan for life, and
Really
the moment it gets announced, I can't wait to find out plans to head out. It's probably, I would argue, probably the best live series. I know we're at WSOP.com, but it's Run It Up. It's
fun. It's different. It's unique.
Yeah, it's one of the most fun, inviting atmospheres. You play a tournament, and everyone's there to have fun, and everyone's there just to enjoy each other's company, and it shows.
So 3-bet from Negreanu on table 2.
This could be a fun one. Ace 10-9 rainbow, because there's 3 different colors. Fortunately, we're doing color commentary without with the 4-color deck. I'm a bit of a zoomer, so I couldn't really handle 2-color decks. I don't know if Daniel or Doug are playing with 2-color decks. Perhaps Daniel's a little bit more traditional.
I mean, Daniel was playing with the 4-color deck when he was doing the WSOP streams on GG. So I imagine he's doing the same here as he leads for 6,300.
It's just, there's definitely scenarios where you just think you have a flush and you realize you don't. It's just why worry about that? You just look for 5 red cards.
Fair.
Massive pot though, not to take away from our wonderful conversation.
21K in the middle. 8 of clubs on the river. Negreanu checks. Polk quickly checks back. Nothing doing for Negreanu. Pair of 10s good enough for Polk to check back with.
Doug holds on with his second turned third pair. Doesn't I mean, that was also a spot too where I imagine Doug could have felt the need to turn it into a bluff at times. But if we were to look at the replay there, I think that would be a good one to go over.
Yeah, we can pull up that replay for sure. Producers Isaac and Carlin running the show on replay.
We can start the replay over because we're already at the river.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, we're trying hard with these replays. I think software will only allow for the replay of the previous hand, but then once the next hand starts, it's like, but let's see.
So yeah, 3-bet pot. Daniel going with perhaps the lower frequency 4-3 of clubs, checking the flop and then going for the larger bet on the turn. Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I mean, this could be a spot where Doug could potentially perceive, his 10 not being good. Daniel's going to have some kings, some aces that he could perceive to get to fold if he uses a larger size. I'm not too sure with the river meta with the previous sessions, whether Doug felt it would be obligatory to have the bluff there, but it could have been a situation where Doug could have turned his strong hand, but not necessarily the best hand, but into a bluff. Fun times though, nonetheless.
Doug with the Jack Deuce on the Jack Deuce Deuce Jack board. All the full houses for Doug Polk. Polk has chipped into that lead that Negreanu had accrued.
Mm-hmm.
As Negreanu now up about $143,000 for this session, making him up overall about 76K.
The swings.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was a betting line on whether or not someone would need to. I mean, I think both players have publicly said that they've put at least $1 million online. If reloads are going to end up happening throughout this challenge, could
another one for our friends at Poker Shares who had Doug Polk as a slight favorite for today's session. Today's session only, they had Polk as a minus 156 favorite. Bet 156 to win 100. Negreanu plus 138. The spread on this one, where you could bet them both at almost even money, save for a little juice. Doug Polk favored by $25,000. And in the overall high stakes feud, they still had Doug Polk as a significant favorite. Polk at minus 769, Negreanu plus 535, so greater than 5-1 underdog.
I mean, if Daniel keeps putting out performances like this, I can only imagine the odds are going to shift.
Right. And Patrick, if you bet Negreanu winning more than $120,000 in this very session, you're getting paid almost 7-1 on your money. And you want that to hold. You're saying, please hold for another 15 minutes.
Please, more bathroom breaks is what I do.
Yeah, right. Take your time.
Let's just remove the variance from it and just, Daniel, start acting slow. Book the win for me, please.
3-bet from Negreanu. Polk folds.
It'd be interesting if the guy, obviously they're trying to get as many hands in as possible, and the live session was more of a hype situation. But if they were to mix in more live, it'd be interesting. Like halfway through, like 12,500 hands through, they decide to mix in a live session to see what see how the atmosphere would be going forward. Because I mean, going into it, we thought, they didn't like each other, this and that. And then it was the most friendly conversations I'd ever seen. I was loving listening to the conversations because they were great, but it's just like, you guys were talking all this jive going into it. And then you guys are just like best friends at the table, sharing stories, all these sort of things.
Very cordial, very civil, very friendly. I mean, two professionals came there to play the game.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned this on Monday. I had the opportunity to talk with both of them individually for that broadcast and that promo video that you all saw, and not as friendly in those conversations as you might imagine.
No, yeah, Doug, both of them were pretty all businessy.
Oh yeah.
Reasonable size pot here on the double paired board. Doug opting for the larger size.
Quick call from Negreanu. Doug getting some value from that 4.
The thin value with his third pair.
What's up, Sean Chafin, one of the best poker writers out there. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you all for being here on GG's YouTube channel. We're right back here tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time for session 8. Same can be said for Friday. That's when Amanda Negreanu will join us.
All 7,000 and climbing. The numbers just skyrocketing.
Here we go. We appreciate the support. GGPoker.tv. Click like, click subscribe. Big plans in the works for GG subscribers on YouTube. Click comment, click share, all that good stuff. Say what's up to us in the chat. $7,500 in the pot on table 1.
Yeah, the boys are blasting. It's an interesting board. The Queen 9-7 should be able to provide a lot of action. A lot of hands can be made. A lot of hands could be drawn to. Could see some check raises.
$5,600.
And it's a board where, since there's so many draws and so many things, and a lot of your, if you have a strong queen, ace queen, king queen, you're going to want to get value from the draws, and the draws are willing to pay it. 10 on the turn isn't one of the worst turns, but it is going to complicate things.
Negreanu betting 14K snap fold from Doug Polk. Not interested in continuing there.
It did feel like both of those guys acted pretty quickly there on the turn.
Yeah.
I guess Doug does act pretty quickly traditionally with those spots, so I guess he did probably snap check and I didn't catch it. I've been one to miss an action and not realize it's on me. So I had one moment. I'm a thin brag for a moment. Day 3 of the WSP 5K. It was a pot on the turn, and I stare at the guy for what felt like a minute and a half, And then he kind of just like looks at me weird for like a moment of it, but keeps the poker face. And then I look at the dealer. I'm like, is it on me? and he goes, yeah, it's on you. I was like, oh crap, my bad.
That's so embarrassing. Sorry, guys.
And then after that, I was just like, how did you check during the hand? I was like, how did you check it? He did like the little finger tap. I was like, come on, man. All right, whatever. Did like all right, poker face.
The really slight Steven Chidwick using the pinky tapping the table.
Yeah, it did work though, because like I ended up just betting small on the river. Or betting small on the turn, and he just like turbo folded, you know.
Oh, all right.
Leveling games.
Negreanu up to about 214K. Good question from John and Patrick. This alludes to what you were speaking about earlier. What's the biggest effective stack you think we'll see over this entire feud? John says, could it get to 300K? I guess effective stack would be, but how about just biggest stack on a table?
Yeah, biggest stack on the table. I don't think I've addressed that topic too much, but you know, I'd love to see Daniel. He's pretty close. I haven't brought it up yet, but he's very close to the record. Allegedly 230,000. He's on pace for it. With only 10 minutes remain of the challenge. I don't know if do they snaps? Does Daniel traditionally just snaps it out at the 2 hour mark?
They've been pretty consistent again, except for Monday where they decided to extend the session for the first time. They've been pretty consistent at stopping at that 2 hour mark. We say hello to Poker Coaching's own and owner, Jonathan Little. Welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'd imagine probably the largest effective stack, somewhere between the 100, probably like 120,000 effective. Betting a call. Doug getting value from the bottom end of the straight there.
Spikes it on the river.
5 in a row. Gets it done. Yeah, I'd imagine the biggest pot could probably end up being somewhere between 200 to 250.
Or it could pretty sizable pots early on today. Who knows what's in store as we're past the 10% mark of this challenge. High Stakes Feud planned for 25,000 hands of 200, 400. No limit, Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see commentary. I mean, if it took seven sessions to get to this many hands, I wonder what session 70 is going to be like.
Oh boy. That's
we'll run out of
2022. Yeah.
We'll have already talked about golf and NBA. We're going to have to start talking about volleyball and stuff. We'll just need to really reach deep for those tangent topics.
We are 11 days away from day 1A of the World Series of Poker main event that starts on GG on Sunday, November 29th. $10,000 buy-in, a freeze out. Day 1B, December 5th. Day 1C, December 6th. Day 2 on December 7th. They'll play down to 9. The 9 will meet at King's Casino in Rosvadov. They'll play to a winner. As far as the U.S. version is concerned, day 1, December 13th. Day 2, the day after, they'll play down to 9. They'll play down to a winner at the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino in Vegas on December 28th. Then the American winner faces the international winner on December 30th for $1 million and the title of World Series of Poker main event champion.
Yeah. A heads up to rival the Doug and Daniel.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are effectively playing for $1 million, and then you've got two titans winning both their domestic and international fields. I don't know if it's fair to call America the domestic field, but I had to think of something. I'm Canadian.
Domestic works for us. Yeah.
I'm sure like 40% of the viewing population is like, yeah, that's right. But everything else is like, oh, come on, dude.
So we have about 8 minutes left until we hit the 2 hour mark, but don't go anywhere. Either A, they'll continue playing, or B, we'll have an exclusive interview with Daniel Negreanu. We'll catch up with him, get his thoughts on how today's session went, get his thoughts on all that drama that took place overnight, which was really nothing, but we'll still get what he has to say.
The headache that was the hand history database thing.
Headache is probably a better word for it.
I can imagine just Phil Galfon's phone. He just looks up, need arbitration now. And he's excited. He's ready to go. And then he gets the topic and he's like,
he's always ready. He's like poker's commissioner. He's the Adam Silver of poker.
Yeah,
That is Phil Galfond. Our latest numbers have Daniel Negreanu up almost $160,000 for this session, putting him up in the feud by about 90K. George in the chat, how far through 25K hands are we? Not sure specifically, but probably we passed the 10% mark, so we're probably 2,700, 2,750-ish, up to 3K hands into this.
They've been zooming through the hands.
Yeah, they play
today.
very quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I would never play this quick. I traditionally play like some spots fast, but like spots that Daniel's in now, and like I'm always tanking, and he does lose in that pot, getting some thin value there with the Queen 8, and that is gonna be the name of the game when it comes to no limit hold'em. Heads up, you're gonna have to find some value bets with some hands that aren't top set and full houses. Otherwise, you
fill the void in the chat. Can you explain the hand history controversy? Again, controversy probably too strong of a word. I just think we'll let Daniel explain it when he jumps on to talk with us. So
yeah,
we don't have to bore you guys with the details, and we don't even know 100% of the details. So we'll just ask Daniel for the explainer.
Yeah, we'll get him Phil's excitedness towards the arbitration.
Yeah,
how quick it was solved.
Make a note of that. Any other questions you guys would like us to ask Daniel, let us know in the chat. I'll let Egption take care of the poker specific questions, since he's about 150 times smarter when it comes to this lovely game.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask him of what he thinks of all the queen high boards and all the queen textures.
A lot of queens out there, Daniel, huh? He's like, yeah, I guess. Okay, cool. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good talk. What do you think about calling boards rainbow? It's really hit the hard hitting. I don't know how much theory you want to talk about while we're playing, but that's Doug with the 2-pair.
Queens and 5. Good question from James. And Patrick, we're always trying to accommodate our newer viewers to this wonderful game of poker. So Patrick, when you say thin value, what does that mean?
So thin value would pertain towards betting with things that could definitely lose to. It's basically, there's the obvious value bets where you're like, I have top set or I have straights, but thin value would be your weaker hands that you could still get value from calls with slightly worse hands, but you could be beat by other hands. Things that hands that might not be that strong but could still get called by worse.
Things that when you're at the very beginning amateur level, you're like, all right, good enough, check. I mean, I don't know, I'll just check. Where these guys are on the hunt for every single dollar.
Yeah.
HR, why do you say 3-bet on a re-raise? Another good question for our newcomers to the game. So we consider a raise as effectively 2 bets. So that re-raise, that click back, if you will, would be 3.
We've got a not friendly comment. How about from some guy? Doesn't even give us his name. It's not some guy. It's not like Paul S or something. It's some guy. How about Egption gets muted 5 minutes every time he makes a lame comment? You know what?
Well,
we could play stake. Let's start now. It's
I'll tell you what. I don't think you deserve to be muted at all. I haven't heard any lame comments out of you. Hans Worst, by the way, before him says, can't listen to the guy on the left. What a wussy. I mean, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. I don't know why you can't listen to me, but it's a fair assumption on the toughness scale. I do probably lean towards the wuss side.
Respect to him to be able to determine that through just pure commentary.
Right.
Over a game, he's able to detect your level of wussness. That's
pretty impressive. I actually appreciate that, Hans.
Good read. We've got a masterclass coach on stream. Perhaps he's he could write his own masterclass in the chat there. Could be some valuable content.
Thank you all for the kind words.
Yeah, now we're getting.
We
now
just
we're
like
getting
to mess with the trolls here and there, but thank you. We appreciate the support.
We're also fishing for compliments.
Thanks, yeah, right.
Fell hook, line, and sinker for it. Keep them coming though. Don't stop.
I like this from Scott. Egption, absolute legend. Always see him on Twitch, poker competitions on YouTube. One of my favorite players. F the haters.
I think that might be compilations.
Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Chris. Oh, compilations.
Yeah.
You guys don't have a YouTube poker competition? That's weird.
No, yeah, we tend to keep our competitions on Twitch.
Okay, that would make more sense. Compilations
Yeah.
would make a little bit more sense.
And also, it's human nature for us to end up reading the negative comments.
Yeah,
So,
we laugh at them. I like it.
I mean, some of these zingers are good. You know, it's funny.
I respect the really good trolls. I mean, the trolls who
Yeah.
just say like "you suck." It's kind of boring. I don't like to read those. But if they say something funny, yeah, okay, I'm in. The overbet from Polk on table number 2 takes down that pot.
Ooh, a good one. Egption, a Canadian poker treasure alongside DNegs. I mean,
wow.
That might be the compliment of the day so far. I've seen a lot of. I had a friend earlier, Josh McCulley. I didn't get to say it. Egption is a sexy beast. I mean, that's up there too. But you know, I've walked past the Canadian Walk of Fame, and you know, I would love to be able to get on that at some point. But I think I need Daniel. I need Daniel to step up and get on the Walk of Fame at some point. I think he would be the trailblazer to allow, you know, young whippersnappers like myself to get on there.
Well, I'll tell you what though, when I do think of Canadian poker players, I think of Daniel Negreanu and Patrick Tardif and you, Egption. So those are the only two I think of when somebody mentions the success of Canadian poker players.
Forget Greenwood, forget Dvorez. Forget those guys. Forget Timothy Adams. Boring. Forget the Wizards.
As we potentially wrap up, remember we'll have Daniel Negreanu after the session. So Patrick, what do you have going on over these next couple weeks or so?
Well, we've got the conclusion of the Battle of Malta. Got 3 day. I think I'll be streaming the next 4 days on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All those twitch.tv/Egption. Battling it out in the final stages of the Battle of Malta. We've got the ring event tomorrow, the ring event on Saturday, and then the big one, the $550 main event on Sunday. That's my plans for the weekend. Pretty exciting. And some chat members might be jealous. Just nonstop poker.
Sounds pretty exciting to me. And remember, there will be coverage of both the mini main event and the main event final tables over these next 2 Saturdays. Kevin Martin and Nananoku leading the way. It's a 3-bet from Polk on table 1, the call by Negreanu.
As we hit midnight, so to speak. It's 7:30 my time, I would say. Fine. Wait, what time is it? And is it 4:30?
Yes.
Yes, we've reached 4:30 in the West Coast. This could be some of our final hands. Enjoy them while they last. Large pot on table 1.
Polk checks the turn. Yeah, as Mark asked in the chat, how long is left to play today if overtime is excluded? If overtime is excluded, we have 0 more minutes. But if they both decide that they want to keep going, we'll probably go another hour at the time. Negreanu fires 5,600 on the river.
I think that's our first chop pot on table 2.
So.
We haven't had an opportunity to say everyone loves a chop pot. Ooh,
queens
Daniel.
And 6s will get it done for Negreanu. Some value for him there.
Will we see? No, we won't see a 3-bet. Let me find the comment here. I might be too much of a zoomer to know. Okay, so Kurt Rhombus says, Egption, have you been acting since Roseanne ended? And I feel like this is a zinger, but I'm too big of a zoomer to I know that there's a show named Roseanne. I vaguely remember what it is. I don't know who he's alluding to. So it's like jokes on him.
Right. Yeah, I remember the show Roseanne. I don't know what they're implying as far as what character you may be.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
No, it's aces full of jacks for Doug Polk on table 2.
Maybe there was a handsome baby on it, and he's comparing me to that.
I don't know.
Other than that, I'm drawing blank on the zinger attempt.
Oh no. Only Joe and James can say everyone loves a chop pot. We agree with that. We are not messing with that at all.
We're not stealing their stees. That's their thing. But it's we won't say it in unison.
Right. I like this from Jordan in the chat. I can see the pain in Jeff's eyes when Egption mentions playing on GG. Yeah, I am very, very, very jealous, to say the least.
You've seen some glimmers of it with the emojis.
Right. Can see the emojis
not
here.
Sure ifs.
We're all sweating the action. There's Elky.
I was wondering if we'd see the Elky ones, and I'm glad to see Elky makes an appearance, albeit late, as these guys are still rumbling minutes after the 2-hour mark. I mean, I'm not surprised. Typically, it's Daniel, the one that sits up. I think Doug's been pretty open about he's willing to go as long as Daniel's willing to sit.
Yeah.
And Daniel has kept sitting. I mean, things have been going Daniel's way. It's just been absolutely crushing today. A lot of positive results. I mean, Doug
check raise here.
Yeah.
Call by Polk. 10 of clubs on the river.
Quick river bet. The flush takes it down.
And Negreanu had flopped the flush. Wins a pot of more than $21,000.
Maybe he's been listening. He hears the high score. Perhaps Amanda whispered in his ear, "Do you need to go for the high score?" We might have influenced it because he's still pushing, and he's got a $220,000 stack. It's alive, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sweat.
And right before that hand, I believe we got our latest tallies that Negreanu up about 144K. So he's probably up more than 150K for the session.
That's
damn.
That's one that he's going to enjoy looking back at.
Sizable. As Polk overbets the flop here. Negreanu check calls. Third diamond on the turn.
Yeah, both pots getting sizable on both tables. Table 2 slightly larger, and it's only on the flop. There's a 3-bet pot. Daniel with the smaller size.
And on table number 1, Daniel check folds. Polk check calls on table 2. Third spade pops up on the turn.
This could be a turn where we see Daniel check. It could be a spot where he half pots. Typically at these sort of depths, I think when the flush completes, half pot tends to be the sizing. So you can have the 2 pairs and the sets in your value range as well as the flushes. Check on the turn though.
Another spade on the river. Polk checks again. Negreanu fires small. Polk just snap called as Polk had turned the flush. The 10 high flush is good. It beats Negreanu's 5.
Now, despite, Daniel on table 2, he did win the ace king versus queens, but it's Doug with the 6-figure stack.
Yeah.
Doug clawing back here on table 2. It just seems through like hard work pots as well, you know? It's not none of the flashy all-in pre-flop ones, just piece by piece. Doug, no surprise, making a game of this session.
Rarely will go quietly into the night. So we take a look at the past session. Session 1 was live at the Poker Go studio. They played at 200 hands. Negreanu won a little bit more than $116,000. Session number 2 was the first online session. Doug Polk won almost 219K. Session 3, a good one for Polk as well. He won more than $166,000. That put him up almost $270,000 overall. Session 4, good one for Negreanu, won about $87K. Session 5, Negreanu won more than $200K, take the slight overall lead. Polk regained that lead in session 6 when he won more than $93,000. Here we are in session 7, Negreanu up more than $150,000.
As I've said before, I'll say it again, Daniel's just beaming Doug. I'd love to make it a thing. Yeah. Some poker tends to attract the older generation. If you ever want to embarrass your younger ones, start saying the word beam and beaming. Your younger children are going to love you for it. You'll be hip with the times.
Okay. I like it. There's a check raise for Negreanu on table 1.
I just want to see the older demographics start to use.
I'm sure it's coming. Yep.
Yeah. I just want to be playing live when it comes back. And somebody like the age of 60 is like, yeah, you just beamed him in that pot. And I just look at him unironically. What just happened here?
Yes. We have made it.
Then I know I've made my impact on the world, and I can sleep. I can rest in peace. You know, I've made my mark. Yeah.
About 6K in the middle on table number 1. Interesting river card that gives Negreanu 2 pair, queens and nines. Good enough for DNegs. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Looks like the chat. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. And then Friday, same time, where Bren Hanks will join me and Amanda Negreanu will join us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Friday, long session. Sounds like a good time for the drinks to be flowing, as we said.
Yeah, a couple cocktails will be had for sure. Negreanu overbetting the turn on table 1. Sebastian, how many hands from the 25K? We are a long way away from that. About 22,000 more hands.
I was going to say, though, by the way, it does seem like the chat is taking kindly to the beam phrase. Use it however you want in whatever context. Just practice until you get it. Oh, Doug with the absolute nuts.
Stone cold.
Straight to the king.
Update from Amanda on today's session. She says, haven't decided how long they're going to go yet. I just asked. Thank you for checking in, Amanda. Amanda's our sideline reporter of sorts today. Dom, maybe the cocktails will make you less of a wuss. Maybe I'll get a little tougher with some cocktails. Probably not.
If there's like a auxiliary stream coverage commentating the wuss factors, how things are, I'd love to tune into that.
Okay.
Seeing how I can improve, myself mostly.
I like it.
Yeah, someone in the chat asking, is this, I think a couple people have drawn it. Is it a 100 Thieves hoodie? It is indeed. I decided to flex for the stream today.
Oh, yeah, that's a sick one. I like it.
Yeah, I'm Nade Shot, one of the founders of 100 Thieves, coming from the console background, Call of Duty, going to the MLG event days. So I love supporting. I love everything about the 100 Thieves brand. Got a few pieces. It was either this or I wore an OVO, October's very own.
Okay.
Got to rep the 6 Drake's brand.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. 6 Toronto.
I've got a couple hoodies, a couple pieces of OVO merchandise in the closet. Some would probably say too much, but
okay.
I would say those people are just straight up wrong. I don't think you ever have too much.
They are obviously the wrong ones here.
Yeah, they got to get their act together. They're pretty high on the WIS scale. The ones that think I have too much. Yeah, I'm gonna practice it.
Negreanu 3 betting on table 2 pre. Polk leading on table 1 on the turn.
Yeah, it looks like it was a 3-bet pot. I'm going to assume it was check flop. Doug with the larger turn size, going for the 67-ish%. I'd have to bring out a calculator to double check. What is 55?
Almost 20K in the middle on table 1. Negreanu leads small on table 2.
Can confirm calculator, 67%.
Thank you for that research. Polk leading for almost $13,000 with 17K behind. Negreanu lays it down.
Continues the story that he's got it.
RS says, Jeff, can you ask them to hold a break? I have to let the dog out. I mean, I don't think I have that kind of power.
But I mean, we are in the age of technology. You could perhaps, if you don't already have it, watch it on your phone, and then while you're
just run out real quick.
Yeah, with the dog. I mean, you could do a little multitasking. You could open the door with your phone still going on. Just be careful if there's any stairs involved. Make sure you're paying attention.
Right.
Last thing you want to do is trip up or downstairs.
And then they could blame you for it also. Probably sue you nowadays for that.
You know
Well,
what?
he told me to on stream. There's evidence.
You know, you know, there is a large American demographic, and you bring up a good point. So I'd like to say that it was unofficial advice, and you cannot use it as canon. It's
Okay.
I don't know what
Good
the legal
qualifier
terms are to
there.
fire. I'll have to talk to Gigi's lawyers. We'll get in touch with their lawyers.
8K in the pot, more like 7K on the left on table number 1. The overbet from Polk on the river. We saw this from him towards the beginning of the session. This time, Negreanu check calls with trip queens.
This might be it. This might be the high score. We'll have to.
He is up to about $227,000. You want to get him up to more than 230 to be safe.
Yeah, 230 to lock it up. This could be it. I might have willed this in. I know he's done it if he snaps it out after.
It's Negreanu check called flop. Turn trips. Check called again. Check to the river, 3 of spades. Polk overbet that. Meanwhile, straight for both on table 2. They chop it up.
Yeah, Daniel with the quick call as well, keeping him honest. Doug going for it, blocking some pretty relevant queen combos. Obviously the suited queen jacks, as well as some offsuit queen nines. Didn't have any clubs in his hand as well, not blocking some of those flush draws, not blocking too many diamond flush draws.
What a day it has been for Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, every pot now on table 1 is ever so more important.
Right. As Patrick tries to will DNegs to that 230K marker over, as we call it, the new high score throughout the high stakes feud.
Every chip added just adds to the intensity. Oh, boom. Oh, he's just a smidge below 230. Let's just make it like 240. Just lock it in. There's no question.
Okay, might as well.
It would be super disappointing if we go through all of this for 230 and we find out later Doug hit like 265.
Yeah, that'd be bad. Okay, let's get to 240 then.
Yeah. Oh.
Remember, if you are enjoying the action, to click like on this page, to click subscribe. If you like and subscribe, might be eligible for some cool stuff from GG. Just saying. Also, comment, chat, share, all that stuff.
Yeah, tell your friends, tell your family. Tell everyone. Tell everyone, even if they, open their eyes. Just tell them how much money they're playing for. If that doesn't do it, they're probably not worth telling at all.
It's a good sales pitch. Yeah. You mentioned the stakes. There goes my dog.
He's just shook that Daniel lost that pot. He's not going to eclipse the 240K mark at this pace.
As RS in the chat asked if his dog could get a break. I think my dog's thinking the same.
Yeah. All dogs working in unison.
Right. They're like, hey, more than 2 hours is like a little intense for us.
They're sending dog energy to Daniel's dog. Doug has a dog too, right?
Right. Daniel has Rocky and Apollo. Maybe we'll hear them in the post-game interview. I'll mute mine so I can yell for my dog to stop barking.
All right, I'll carry it from here. So we've got a single raise pot here on table 1. Check on the flop. Choice words for the pupper. Kind but firm, I can imagine.
Pretty kind. I just yell his name as opposed to say his name. So I just yell, buddy, a bunch. And eventually he gets the message.
Pips up, looks at you, understands.
Yeah, it's like, all right, good enough. Negreanu's 4-bet. Forces a fold from Polk.
Yeah, it does seem like we're seeing a large percentage amount of 4-bets out of Daniel here. I don't know if we've seen any real 4-bets out of Doug. Maybe one this session, but it does seem like the 4-bet has been a strong asset to Daniel this this particular session. Obviously, the big. I actually that Ace King Queens. I don't even think it was a 4-bet pot as well.
High Stakes Feud session number 7. And a good session at that for Daniel Negreanu of about $150,000. Puts him up about 80K in High Stakes Feud. Wins a nice pot on table 2. That would be 6-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, Daniel Negreanu. Leo in the chat, Patrick, says Doug was only at 226K in round 2, although I still like just playing it completely safe, letting him get up to, maybe we say 235?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even about beating it. It's just about crushing, you know? You want to set the tempo. Like, every time Doug has a winning session, it's like, did you hit the high score there?
Right.
Sure, Doug, you might have won a couple buy-ins, but didn't get that high score.
$16,435 in the pot on table 2.
Things you hate to see. Daniel losing on table 1. Table 2, bloating. 75% turn bet. These guys were pretty deep. These guys were pretty deep to start this one. About 50,000, something like that.
Negreanu calls. 39K in the middle. Negreanu with 27K behind. 5 of diamonds on the river.
I would assume that if Doug's gonna barrel the turn, he's probably gonna commit to the river. I missed some of the previous actions.
Check out the replay when this hand is done. Polk
I guess
checks.
Wishful thinking was assuming he'd just send it. Oh,
Negreanu rips it. Snap fold by Doug Polk. Nice pot for Daniel Negreanu.
It's a huge pot.
As we do take a look at that replay.
Let's take a peek here. So yeah, it was a 3-bet. Half pot on the turn, and or half pot on the flop with the turn size going geometric. I think. Yeah, it looks like 2/3, something like that.
Slow down on the river and snap folded to the Negreanu shove.
I would love to hear if Daniel had a bluff there. Might not be too likely. It's a spot where probably Daniel's going to have a lot of strong stuff. Quads potential on the river, but we won't see it.
This is the second session in a row where they have extended the action. The sessions are planned for 2 hours. If both players agree to keep playing, then they will keep playing.
Yeah, I think Daniel, especially earlier on, had stated that he kind of wanted to have shorter sessions so that things are going to be learning experiences from him. He wants to hit the drawing board as quick as possible, and then as the sessions progress, get a little bit more lengthier sessions in. And now we're starting to see that in action.
Julia says in the chat, if someone got 13-1 on DNegs, they are very happy. And when Polk was really crushing it after session 2, session 3, Patrick, the guys at Poker Shares had Negreanu at 13-1. Some real value there, huh?
I just a little bit of a overreaction, just one losing session. It's over. It's very 230
jacks for Negreanu to get him over that 230K mark.
But it's a bit of it's how it always is. Like a lot of the times when someone has like a winning or losing poker session, just a little bit overreaction. Everyone assumed that's going to be it.
Especially because of the narrative, right? So they started off live, Negreanu won. So it's so easy to be like, well, yeah, Negreanu's good at live, but then online he doesn't stand a chance against Doug Polk. See, look at these 2 sessions, which were like, 800 hands total out of 25,000 hands. I
don't even know if it was that many. It was probably less, like 300, 400.
It was 424 in session 2, 382 in session 3.
Yeah.
Where Polk crushed.
Okay.
And so it was like, Negreanu doesn't stand a chance. It's like, 13-1, whatever.
Doug might actually back the trunk up.
Yeah. And then Hello, here comes Daniel Negreanu.
You know, I feel like at this point, Doug better really actually, like, for the sake of the challenge, like whether he rents it or someone rents it for him, just like get a Brinks truck. Like he just has to do that if he ends up winning, even if he loses, just to get his money off the site, you know, just to bring a truck,
right.
something, you know.
He still has like 300K on there. Just get the truck anyway.
Or bring the truck to redeposit something. Just, I mean, at this point, he's committed to it. I would appreciate it.
And there is probably something to be said, Patrick, for how fast Negreanu can pick things up. Like I imagine that his studying process is pretty efficient by now. As he rivers 2-pair, it's queens and tens for Negreanu on table 1.
High score is just being set every pot.
Yeah.
But to come back to that, I mean, one of the things that I've learned through my short poker career is the importance of longevity in poker. And you know, a lot of people get fixated on what have you done for me lately, whereas you know, just being in the game for as long as he has, or just, you know, your length of time in poker is pretty relevant. And Daniel has clearly shown the test of time, battling at the highest stakes for as long as he has. And you know, he's reaching into a variant that's not his expertise. He's learning as he goes. You know, is he going to be as good as Linus Love? Probably not, but is he gonna be able to improve enough to make a go of this and make this exciting? It's pretty clear he's doing that right now.
Saw something similar a couple years ago when Negreanu admitted that he was behind in the high roller tournament landscape.
Yeah.
And that he had some major work to do to catch up to really the Germans and Justin Bonomo at that time. And then the next year he finished second in Super High Roller Bowl 2.
Was it even a year? I felt like he did that like right out the gate.
Yeah, it might have been less, but like he took some time with his team, studied the high roller world, dove into GTO, solvers, et cetera, and just got really good there also.
I would say at this point, like a lot of the super high rollers, it ends up being like North American more so. Like,
now I think
the landscape's changed.
Yeah, the Americans have battled back.
I would say like as a pretty big pot here. Get back. Oh, never mind. Daniel quickly takes down 240. He's hit it. He's got to have the high score. That's got to be a lock. We've got to have that at the bottom ticker after like the next session's high score. Daniel 240.
That works for me. The highest that we've seen a stack throughout this high stakes feud would be Daniel Negreanu's stack on table number 1.
But yeah, it does. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say our latest numbers have Daniel Negreanu more than $184,000 in this session. Puts him up about 115K for the high stakes feud overall.
Yeah, I was going to say with the high roller scene, it has sort of felt like the German dominance. Maybe they've gotten too rich, and a lot of them just don't feel like playing anymore. But it doesn't feel as German dominated anymore, at least in the live scene. You know, you've got the Timofey Kuznetsovs and the Mikita Badzikowskis, but you don't have the German side of Europe, and then it's otherwise it's a lot of North Americans, and Canadians alike that seem to want to battle.
Fascinating scene. Can't wait for the live tournament scene to come back to see more of that.
And we all wait bated breath with the current global pandemic and the things going on.
Did Negreanu look up with the king high? I believe so.
I'm just gonna class that. That's a beaming then, you know. Just king high gets that he beamed him there. Yeah. Maybe get a hand history review of that one. I didn't see how big the pot was.
It was pretty small. It was about 6K total. But still, king high.
Yeah.
It's hard. Hero call.
It's hard. Out kickering
for Negreanu.
244. Almost 245. I have this like gut feeling like the moment Daniel loses like a large pot on the left table, it's just over.
The session will be over.
Yeah, he just loses like a 4-bet pot and he's like, all right, that's it. Phone it in.
He certainly has all the momentum, and as we've said, not only throughout the day but throughout the last couple weeks, Polk is set up for this. I mean, the guy could just play until 5 a.m. right?
Yeah.
It's Negreanu who's the one who is new to this high stakes heads up challenge scene. Now, back in the day, he did plenty of heads up challenges, but you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
we know we're approaching 2.5 hours. Does he go to 3 if he's playing well? Does he go to 4 if everything's going well? Who knows? We'll see.
Didn't he play a Silder at some point?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think I remember vaguely about that. I think I wasn't following along that much, but I remember just seeing like the banners at the bottom of the site. You know, Daniel's playing a Silder. There's a big deal getting a Silder back online.
Check raise for Negreanu on table 1.
Especially versus the larger size to see the check raise. Typically it's you see check raises versus like half pot or less. When you see check raises versus the larger sizes, things get a little bit more exciting.
3 of hearts on the river, 14K in the pot.
This will be a fun time to see a 2x river pot, but we will see the 70%er.
Almost $11,000.
This is a spot too where Doug's still going to have strong hands. I mean, when he gets check raised here, he's not going to be 3-betting a lot of his super strong values. And he could also decide to perhaps turn some things into a bluff. If Doug somehow has something like King 5 or King 3. Not sure if he would, but...
There's the call. Negreanu shows trip 9s. Good for another sizable pot.
Boom. 260.
Whew.
I feel like Daniel owes me one with this high score.
Checking out this
storyline.
See flop trips.
Yeah, imagine the check call on flop is what got him paid. I think traditionally on boards like 995, you're gonna, especially the two-tone, the two different suits, you're gonna expect check raises to occur a little bit more frequently. So to the delayed check raise on the turn, perhaps Doug felt it was a little less believable. Or Doug just could have had a 9 there. He could have had 9-8, 9-7. Probably the more likely case. But Doug, delayed check raise, or Daniel, delayed check raise, getting it done. As you see in the chat, road to 300K.
Oof, who knows at this point?
Wasn't that guy's chat life was on the line? He said Doug or Daniel needed to win 300K or to get a stack to 300K. He might not get banned at this rate.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that was like an hour and a half ago when Negreanu had what, like 140 in front of him or something?
Yeah, he was very adamant. He's like, Daniel's gonna win 300K this session. And I was like, all right, well, he was right. You know, sometimes some of these chat pros just nail it.
The chat pros.
These wizards.
The chat pros are good though. You got to admit they're very good at poker.
I see that
they always say the right thing.
Well, a lot of people think that you should be watching the streamer for the content, but the real cherry is the real gems are reading the chat. Because when they just say call, and then you fold, you know, you probably got it wrong. Or if they're saying fold, and you call and you're wrong, I mean, you should have listened. You know, they know these things.
Yeah, they know.
Ooh, Rick Mosley in the chat says, got 5K on Danny this match. GG. Well, I'm just going to say it. I'd probably cash your ticket now. I'd probably start spending the money. I don't know.
The session looks pretty good for Negreanu. Poker Shares had Negreanu as a slight underdog.
I don't know
this session specifically, a big underdog for the overall feud.
I don't know what it's going to take for Daniel to lose all of this. I think you can probably assume it's an auto lock. Maybe some misclick all-ins 4 times in a row. Or getting your hand caught in the cookie jar. Doug with the hero call with 10s.
Ooh, D-Boom Harper jumped on it when it was 12-1 for Negreanu. Some really good value.
You could almost just hedge it at that point. You could be boring.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would be boring like that as we see the updated totals incoming. Daniel up over 200,000.
Wow.
That's a large sum.
The biggest win in a session was session 2, the first online session. Doug Polk was up about $219,000. Daniel Negreanu's biggest win came in session 5. He won about $207,000. Polk 3-betting on table 1.
Big things popping for Daniel. This is a fun 3-bet flop, or 3-bet pot flop for deuce deuce. Be fun to see some creativity, some unique bluffs. Doug opting for the larger flop size. Traditional thought would be, 4 deuce deuce. You don't have to bet big because your opponent's not going to make anything, but it's, things have shifted towards, you want to be betting bigger because you want to get more money in and you want to generate the folds when you have bluffs. So if you have got like king queen here, you want to bet big so the ace jacks don't call, stuff like that, or in tougher spots.
Polk betting 6,300 here. No pot of about 19K. Negreanu calls 10 of hearts on the river. 32K in the pot. Polk with about 28K behind.
We could be seeing a Doug Polk all in here.
Set up for it size-wise.
No.
Just check.
Daniel now in the driver's seat. Checks back.
Checks back with the ace jack, which is good.
Oh,
emoji from Negreanu.
Now, traditionally, if that were to happen online and someone used the haha emoji, he'd spam it at least 2 or 3 more times. So if we can get the realistic GG,
there we go.
At least if I was in that scenario and I was using the haha emoji, I would leave that up for at least another. Gotta make sure your opponent knows it's funny.
Good work by producer Carlin there with the emotes. He and Isaac and Eric and James. And the production crew got stats from Alex and Jeff.
That's
set it up well for us. That's 271,000 American dollars.
It's like 8 Venom scores for me.
Oh, it could have been.
Yeah.
But it's still nice.
Yeah, you can't complain. 72,000. Those are always going to be good scores regardless of the outcome. Unless I got like 10th for 70, whenever you make the final table, it's like, yeah, that's enough to make the final table. You get 10th, you always think what could have been.
Sure, max fade. Yeah. Cattle and Luke only just noticed them, but love the poker neons behind you on the wall. Fact, I'd say they are pretty beam. How about that, Patrick? Pretty beam.
A for effort.
Okay.
A for effort. I don't know if that Carlin with the not sure if I feel like that's an appropriate one. It's close. I think it's important to trial and error.
Yeah. You're workshopping here.
Yeah. You don't know what works until you try it. They are beaming though. Beaming, yeah. Nice and bright. They're beaming onto the over 7,000 viewers right now as Daniel has the nut straight on table 1.
Beamed on to Negreanu there, or whatever. I don't know if that still trying to work out.
That was your best attempt yet. That was good.
Okay, that was good.
That was good.
And DNegs flopped a set of deuces on table 2. Takes down that 5K pot.
Now at this rate, we could see a rare Doug Polk sit out.
We could.
Oh.
Benjamin, I'm sorry I missed your question earlier, but Benjamin asked, Doug's got to feel embarrassed at this point, right? Considering he's such a big favorite. And I don't think so. I mean, when I chatted with Doug in our interview for the Poker Go broadcast, he said, I know I'm a favorite. I don't know how much of a favorite I am. I don't know how good Negreanu will be. And also, side note, it's poker. Like there's no way that I can affirm complete control over this match. So I don't think at this point he's embarrassed. Could he be a little bit shook, as they say, considering he's down more than 200K this session? Possibly, but I mean, this is a true pro and one of the best no-limit hold'em heads-up players in the world.
Yeah, I think a lot of people love to get hung up on the short-term variance of things and, call a winner when it's, we're 10% of the challenge through. It's a situation where, Doug has played a lot of heads-up. He's seen a lot of the variance. Doug's a seasoned professional in this aspect, in this game type, to know that these swings happen. You're not always going to Like, it's not like just because he has an edge, he's going to win 20,000 every session and that's it. You know, there's going to be swings that'll go dictate for or against, you know, massively for each person. But the theory, the logic behind it is if Doug has an edge, he'll eventually come out on top a small portion, you know? And the short term, the day-to-day decisions aren't going to, they're just gonna vary.
Sure.
It's important not to get too married, but definitely though, being down to 5 buy-ins in a session.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit.
Always gonna annoy, yeah.
Nine, five, deuce, 2 spades, 3-bet pot pre.
Yeah, Brandon in the chat. During the in-person session, Daniel said he was open to potentially adding a third table at some point. Have they discussed that again? I mean, that could be a question we could ask. I mean,
sure.
I think there's no better time to ask than when Daniel's won over 200K when he's thinking about adding a third table. Let's increase the win rate, you know?
Right, absolutely.
He could be up 400K if he had 3 tables. We'll just throw a random number out there.
All right, so a reminder, we are here tomorrow and Friday, same start time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. I've mentioned the crew on Friday. It'll be myself joined by Brent Hanks and Amanda Negreanu. That'll be a fun one on Friday. Bring your cocktails to that one. Tomorrow, confirmed analyst taking Patrick's role for the day will be Khaki T. Khaki will be back. One of the GG squad members. He will join me tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time as Negreanu takes down another nice pot.
Khaki, a fan favorite. Everyone loves a good Australian dry humor.
Yeah, he's funny.
It's got the same tone of voice throughout. Can't go wrong. I was gonna use an Australian slang that I'm pretty used to saying, but I don't think this is the time, and I'm not Australian.
Okay, that's fair.
I think, you know, they gravitate to a particular word that's not very fan friendly.
Yeah. I got you.
In North America.
Yeah, we'll probably stay away from that. And 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and our executive producer, I'll call him James, knows us too stupid to do the math. 10:30 p.m. UTC overseas for you guys. How about a 10:30 p.m. start time?
Overseas? You mean people internationally are watching?
Yeah, over the seas between our wonderful countries. 10 ball on the river for Doug Polk. Takes down a pot of more than 10K. Maybe a sigh of relief after winning that one.
Look
for
at that.
Polk.
It's like Bloody Mary. Say his name 3 times and he appears. Khaki in the house in the chat. Peeping in to see Daniel.
There we go. See, you mention his name,
and
he appears. The legend that is Khaki T will join us tomorrow for session 8 of High Stakes Feud.
Daniel is indeed crushing with the high score stack on table 1. 200. I mean, it's just getting ludicrous at this point. Yeah.
It's up more than 220K for the session.
Mm-hmm. As we see New Zealand, Melbourne, Tokyo, all representing Singapore. We got Denmark.
And we got Anthony Edwards out of Georgia, the first pick of the NBA draft in 2020. Go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. You guys keep me posted of any trades in the chat. Cameron in the chat says, Jeff out here looking like the love child of Joe Stapleton and Phil Galfond.
Yeah. You know what? Those are 2 handsome guys.
Yeah, take it.
You know, it's always good when they just rattle off some nice, handsome people that you look like. I've been told I look like a young Dan Aykroyd. That was the usual.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and I
got the voice too, kind of.
I would like to think the humor as well. Not to toot my own horn here, but
obviously the humor.
Yeah, maybe a little bit funnier.
And here they are: North Wales, England, Miami, Ireland, Brazil, the UK, Texas forever, Joshua.
Honolulu,
Brazil, Berlin, Iceland, Dublin, Dubai. Cameron checking in from Dubai. Appreciate you guys watching. Horford going to Oklahoma City, says Nick. Thank you, Nick, for the update.
Oh, their first of 10 picks.
Yeah. Stockpiling is what the Thunder do. We got Greece, Sweden, Palestine, India.
Daniel facing a river bet here on table 2 and is incorrect, or probably not incorrect, but top 2 is going to be pretty hard to beat.
Does not have the winning hand. Aces and 10s for Doug Polk. Turns the ace, rivers the 10.
Some people with a short-term thought process might just think, wow, why did Daniel call there? He lost, Sometimes you lose pots, guys.
Right. The potential is there, Egption, on table 2 for a pretty sizable pot. When you look at these stacks, Negreanu with about 70K, Doug Polk with almost 80K.
Doug winning that 8K pot there with a 10 on table 1. Sizable or reasonably sized pot.
Gabriel says Giannis traded to the Warriors. Not going to fall for that one quite yet.
Yeah, I've been told I look like somebody that I need to Google.
Who?
Young Vic Reeves. Let's take a peek here.
Reeves. Ooh, Negreanu fired off the ... He is sitting out. Remember, if this is the end of the session, we will have an exclusive post-game interview with Daniel Negreanu.
I feel like the age of that. Daniel with the sit out. Would you look at that? This could be
another one. So that could be it. It's either that or a quick bathroom break for the gentleman in High Stakes Feud. And Patrick, I feel like we said this every time we've come to one of these moments. Yeah. What a session for one Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, Daniel really booking. This might have been the winningest session out of everyone at this point.
If it holds, our last tally has Negreanu up by more than $223,000. The best session so far going into today. Doug Polk won almost 219K in session number 2.
Yeah, and Daniel, of course, it's been a storyline throughout the entire session today. Daniel with the high score on a single table with the 276,000. It looked like.
Just built the absolutely massive stack. And really, I feel like, correct me if you think I'm wrong, Patrick, but it was like a smooth ride to the top for Negreanu today. It's just really, really smooth the way you would draw it up.
Yeah, I mean, table 1 just straight line up. Table 2 was, battling back and forth. I mean, there was the all-in on the flop, ace king versus queens on the 7-6-5. And despite that, Doug was the first one to hit the 6-figure stack. Table 2 was more reminiscent of what we'd expect in the challenge, where it's just back and forth, very close. Table 1 was just all Daniel this time. Daniel having his way with him.
And I mean, he's going to be up in this feud more than $160,000. That's about 4 buy-ins. So quite the turnaround just from where we were going into the day, where Polk was up about $80,000, about 2 buy-ins. The buy-in 40K for this one, 200, 400. No limit Texas Hold'em. The plan is to play 25,000 hands. Now, Patrick, are you a believer of momentum in poker? And if so, how much does Daniel have at this point?
I'm actually a huge proponent of momentum. I think heads up as well is one of those variants where especially momentum is key. I think whether wanting to admit or not, the confidence is always going to be important in heads up. And when things are working, you're going to feel way more comfortable to pull the trigger in certain situations when it comes to 3 bets or 4 bets. Whereas like if you keep losing these 3-bet pots or you keep losing these all-ins, maybe you hesitate a little bit more and decide, oh, maybe I'll just click call this time. I think momentum is key. It's an intangible asset, intangible factor to heads up poker, heads up no limit, and Daniel's got it.
And I think you mentioned that last time, exactly to your point, like, hey, when you lose like effectively every all in, it is going to bother you. Like it just is. And we'll talk to Daniel Negreanu in just a minute or so. In fact, he may be joining us very, very shortly. Our final tally has Negreanu up about $225,000. $100,000 for the session. That puts him up overall in the high stakes feud about $157,000. So we are close to bringing on Negreanu. Any certain hands stand out to you, Patrick? And actually, Patrick, hold that thought, because I know Daniel is in the waiting room in the Zoom call, waiting to join us. We are all the best with the technology. And I think that we might have him now. And there he is.
Hello,
there he
hello.
is. Daniel Negreanu is here. So Daniel, kind of like last time, I'll let our analysts take care of the poker specific questions. We had mentioned last time there are going to be swings throughout this entire feud, right? There are going to be crazy ups, crazy downs. Today, to say the very least, was a strong session for you. What's running through your mind after these last 2.5 hours or so?
Well, I'm happy. You know, obviously the one stat that I was way behind in is all-in EV.
Yeah.
We had two of them. One was ace, king of spades against queens. I was lucky enough to make the flush on that one. And another one I had king, queen against his jack, 10 of hearts. He's got middle pair flush draw. He missed that with one come. So feels good to win those. And then, you know, for the rest of the match, everything seemed to go my way. And if I didn't have a bad bladder, I could probably keep playing. But I mean, we've got lots of action coming up again tomorrow and the next day. So I felt like that was a good chunk to push it and see, you know, what we could do. And I'm looking at my balance now, and it's bigger than it was when I deposited online. So I'm definitely happy about it.
Yeah, positive session to say the least. So now, Daniel, we're more than 10% of the way through. How would you evaluate your play so far when you look back over these last 2 weeks or so?
Well, I think my play is improving with each session. And one thing I've always prided myself is I work hard and I learn fast, right? This isn't like my first time playing poker. I did have to relearn a lot about how the game is structured and the best way to play it, but I'm willing to do that. And it requires like a good amount of humility to like ask other people for help, you know? Like I'm obviously a Hall of Famer. I've got all the accolades, but like I'm not alien to say, listen, guys, I need help here. And I think right now, if you laid 4-1 or more against me in this spot, you're probably nervous, as you should be, because you're not, I mean, and if you could still get that, oh, sorry, that's my alarm thingy. Okay. And if you can still get 4-1 on this match, well, with me being up here, I would be, I would say now, based on what we have with like 2,500 hands, that it's a good bet. Not saying that I'm a favorite in the match overall, but you know, considering the start and considering how well I feel like I'm closing the gap in a flash, yeah, I think I'm a good bet right now.
PokerShares had you at plus 535 going into today's session. So safe to say there might have been just a hint of value. Last question for me before I turn it over to Patrick. Daniel, I'm just going to give you the floor here. Can you take us through this arbitration process? I know some people, Bill Perkins, maybe like to enhance the drama of certain things a little bit, but I'll just give it up to you and just explain briefly what happened and why you had to bring in Phil.
Okay, yeah, it was blown out of proportion, and you know, Perky's the Perky.
Yeah.
Perky's gonna Perky, and Perky does his thing. We were actually having a private conversation, Doug and I, just about, you know, we noticed some changes over the weekend in some of his, you know, betting, and you know, we were wondering maybe if, you know, he was tracking frequencies, which we were unclear on the rules in terms of that, because the WSOP, we looked at the TO terms of service, and my guys, I want to say this, they have like incredibly high integrity, because I said in the beginning of the match, I'm like, should we, you know, track the frequencies so I know what a c-bet percentage is and stuff, and they said you can't, because they were under the impression that we couldn't do that, right? So Doug let me know that he sort of manually tracked it with a pen and paper, and I mean, that seems reasonable to me. It doesn't seem like wrong. I don't think he did anything wrong, but we were playing by like a different set of rules because of our own fault. Maybe we didn't ask about it. So essentially we just wanted to go forward knowing, okay, what is the line, right? Going forward, what is the line we cannot cross? So we've agreed that the line you cannot cross is you cannot transcribe the hands into a hand history and then download them into like sort of a database to do it that way. So if you do it manually, you're all good to do that. Now, one of the other issues that came up was like, I don't really want to spend 10 hours like counting, right? So the question is, my assistant Patty helped me with that, and just like, hey Patty, can you tell me how many times that guy 3-bet me last session? So stuff like that. And we've agreed, because it's so impossible to police, right? Like who, you know, what are you doing? It's better to, I think, have an even playing field where we're like, all right, well, data is data. Every online match in history and every challenge has had data. You know, that was one of Doug's key points. Because we're on WSOP, you know, and they have a different set of rules, we have to be careful, that's all, about what we're doing going forward. So I just want to equivocally say, like, he did absolutely nothing wrong. It was our own error in not understanding what we were allowed to do. And that's our own fault for not just saying, hey, Doug, can I track this manually?
Yeah, important to point out that there were absolutely no accusations of malice, as you said on Twitter, as you just said to us. Patrick, a couple quick poker-specific questions, perhaps, to wrap things up with Daniel today.
Yeah, I had a bit of a storyline throughout. Congratulations. It looks like you set the high score on a single table for a number of dollars on the table. I think 282,000 was the total, setting the bar pretty high. How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I was looking at that. I'm like, oh, I think this is a new record, right? Yeah. I haven't seen a 700 stack. I don't even know if we had a 6, but yeah, I mean, that one stack on that one table, I mean, he never got above like 150. It didn't seem like. I just cruised. I was, running hot in all the key spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one of the key hands on the table one for us was the 995 king, I think 6, I believe, or you had the 10-9, where you ended up check raising his larger bet on the turn. What did he end up having there? And what was your thought process with that hand and how it ended up going down there?
Yeah, so he had king deuce. He turned top pair. Obviously, he c-bet the flop, which is standard. You bet in position a lot on that board. And I decided to slow play king on the turn. And he bet again. I was like, all right, well, let's throw a check raise in here. And he called with the king deuce, and then the river was a 3, I believe, a blank. So I just went with basically my standard for the most part. Just betting 75% pot. As you can tell, obviously watching, most of my bets are either 20% or 75%, and I sprinkle in some over bets occasionally, but not a ton, certainly not as often as he's capable of doing it.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, I think almost all the questions I'm going to ask is the paired boards. Another one was you had king 6 on, I think 6-6-3 ace 10. I was talking about this could have been one of the rare times you could have had the double check raise on the turn. What did he ended up having on that hand? Or your thoughts on that hand?
Yeah, so he played the hand well, I thought. I mean, he played it really well, actually. He had 7-4 hearts, so he called with the gut shot in the backdoor flush. Turn ace, I checked to him. He decided to represent, he bet with the 7-4, and then the river bricked out, and he decided to give up on that one, which was obviously smart because I wasn't folding 3-6s with the king, no matter what he did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess that makes a bit more sense. I was wondering if he had some sort of value or something like that. Okay, that's a fun one. And then the final one was when Doug ended up having a little bit of momentum. He had quads with the jacks. You check raised the jack 3. I was theorizing you probably had a 3 in that spot when you bet small on the turn and check called the river. But your thoughts on that hand?
He played it really well again. I had a 3 and I decided to check raise the flop. Jacks and 3s. It's a vulnerable hand. Sometimes you want to deny equity. Sometimes you call. You use a mixed strategy, as I'm sure. Yeah. And I decided to check raise, and then the turn card I thought was a good one for me. I believe I barreled the turn, right?
Yeah, you went 25%, something along those lines.
Yeah, I bet the turn. I mean, I thought like I have all the flush draws with check raise, right? So I thought it was a good card for me, and I bet, and he called, and I'm like, uh-oh, trouble. Then the river card's great for me. It's a jack, so I basically have now I've gone from uh-oh to top of my range, right? I beat all flushes. He may. I don't know. He's probably not going to value to bet a flush. That's insane. But I don't have many, I don't have big pairs. I mean, maybe I have 4s, 5s, 6s. So pretty close to the top of my range. And he made a good value bet, obviously, with quads. Because, So I just, it was once I hit that, the top full with a 3,
Sick cooler.
Jack's full of 3s, right?
Finally, Daniel, this was a popular question in the chat, and I know you've at least approached this topic. Apologies if you've already answered it. Can you speak to the potential of adding a third table moving forward?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think right now because we've upped the volume, I've agreed because I'm getting more comfortable playing longer sessions. Like today, we played, almost 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. And we're going to be playing 4 days a week. So we're going to try to put in more volume that way. As far as 3 tables, that might be something down the stretch, but I don't see that happening in the next couple of weeks. That's for sure. But like I said, my goal this week, or at least the target I had for hands played was going to be about 2,000 over the 4 sessions. So hopefully we can have I think tomorrow probably a shorter session, and then Friday we can maybe battle. I hear you may have a special commentator in the booth on Friday. I'm just here.
We just may have your better half in Mrs. Amanda Negreanu.
Very unbiased. She's going to be very unbiased. Yeah, she's going to give you. Well, what my wife is going to do is she's going to explain my game tree and how I bifurcate metacognition in different spots. Where yeah.
Those are big words even for internet kids.
Yeah, I know. That's what we expect when we bring on Amanda Negreanu on Friday. All right, Daniel, thanks for the time today. We appreciate it as always. Congratulations on the big day.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
GG's.
All right, there he goes. That is Daniel Negreanu, who won almost $225,000 in the session. That puts him up in the high stakes feud about 157K. Patrick, final thoughts before we say goodbye to the good people.
What a session for Daniel, and what a session for GG Ambassadors. Just absolutely crushed it today. He beamed Doug. Just gonna say it. Just gonna as blunt as I can give it. He beamed him, and that's hopefully Daniel continues the momentum from this session.
A very fitting end, as called by Patrick Tardif. We thank Egption for joining us. We thank our entire crew, Carlin, Isaac, and Eric running the stream. James overlooking everything. I don't think we did anything to get fired, but he'll let us know afterwards. And we've also got Jeff and Alex on the chat. So thank you all so much for joining us on ggpoker.tv. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. We will be back tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. UTC, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be joined by Khaki T for more of High Stakes Feud, Daniel Negreanu versus Doug Polk. Thank you again for watching. Good night.